Designed to satisfy your wildest desires.
Extravagance.
Overflowing with suspense, dripping with wealth.
Fortune.
The $8 million moneymaker from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With prizes that start at $100 and go up to $8 million. Every win's a big win.
Whisper.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Get the Honda of your dreams during Happy Honda Days with a sporty new Civic, Accord, HR-V, or CR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 2.9% APR on a 2025 Honda Accord or CR-V, a 4.9% APR on a 2025 Civic, and a 3.9% APR on a 2025 HR-V.
Brought to you by your local Carolina Honda dealers. Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Gift an icon this holiday season, the Omega Speedmaster, known as the Moonwatch. This legendary timepiece made history as the only watch selected by NASA to withstand the extreme environment of space and was worn by the legendary astronauts on the first journey to the moon. With its timeless design and unmatched durability, the Omega Speedmaster continues to inspire adventure seekers worldwide. Find your perfect Speedmaster at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted best jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from my friends at Loan Pronto. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Svechnikov powers one through and scores! Oh, the big Russian hammers it home on the power play. And it's 1-0 Carolina. Stahl powers one out in front. The score! Jordan Martin to the rebound. And this line is absolutely delivering the presents around Christmas. Roslovic with a sharp shot right on. Rebound out in front. The score! Tyson Jost. Aho sends it across. Robinson back to Aho. They score! Roll the highlight reel. Sebastian Aho from Eric Robinson. And with 15.1 left in the second, Merry Christmas. It's 4-0.
A lot of goals. Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. What's up? Look who it is. It's Dennis Cox.
Who's that?
You. That's
you. Me? Oh, yes.
I was trying to come up with a better answer than that. I couldn't. I might be tired from last night.
I mean, all those goals wore you down?
Yeah, see, like the funny thing is that the goals really weren't the thing from last night to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the goals are great. I mean, you need them to win because you can't win without them.
Last I checked.
It's been proven. That's fact. Hashtag facts only. But story last night was the goaltender. Ooh, we'll talk about it. So it is the Adam Gold Show. Sometimes I forget to go through the housekeeping. You can watch this show.
Yes, you can.
I wave. That's my parade wave right there. You can watch the show on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or /999 The Fan. Same difference. You'll find us. Dennis Cox is here today. You might be here. Are you here Friday?
Sitting in for you, yes.
Yes, you'll be in this chair on
I will
Friday.
be where you are sitting.
So you'll be doing the parade wave.
I will be.
So we're entering bowl season. You're very good.
Thank you.
You would probably have good balance on a float. I have never been on a float.
Okay.
But bowl season is here. Before we get into all of the stuff we're going to get into, we're going to talk about North Carolina basketball, Duke basketball, Carolina Hurricanes hockey. We're going to talk college football. We got a lot of stuff. Chip Patterson's here today. Ryan Wilson from CBS. We're going to talk about the National Football League, some injuries, get his thoughts on Bryce Young. I'm tired of hearing or seeing regression. They lost a game. He didn't play great. Okay, moving on. Well, I think we already know that he is like a capable NFL quarterback at the very least. I think there's a lot of growth that's still to come from him. He's shown so many good things. But before we get to all of that, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You know, they retired the Pop-Tart from last year.
The strawberry.
The strawberry. And the only reason why I bring this up is because, I don't know, I was drawn to this today. We have Pop-Tarts in the candy machine back there.
Vending machine, yeah.
Yeah. So you should call it a vending machine. So they retired the strawberry Pop-Tart. And they have 3 different Pop-Tarts now that are like mascots. I don't even know what they are. It doesn't matter. But 3 different ones, not strawberry frosted. Do you know what the trophy is?
An actual toaster.
It's a toaster in the shape of a football.
Mm-hmm.
It is awesome. It's an actual toaster. They made 2 of them. It weighs like 28 pounds?
Yeah.
Maybe more than that.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, but it's an actual working toast. That is amazing. This is what bowls have come to. I talked to Matt Brown about this from Extra Points, and we have him on as often as we can come up with a reason to talk about goofy stuff. But this is the future of bowls and how to keep them interesting and on people's minds beyond gambling. I didn't even realize there was a bowl game last night. Did you know that, Dennis?
Yeah.
It was a great game. Memphis,
West Virginia.
Yeah, you go. I think Memphis won like 41-37. I don't remember which bowl it was. Doesn't really matter. But apart from the gambling, how do you keep people engaged with it? You do crazy things. Like, so you have a Pop-Tart that gets eaten, or you dump mayonnaise on the winning coach's head. And in this case, in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the trophy is an actual working toaster. I think it's just hysterical.
They did a full-on video yesterday revealing the toaster.
Right.
It's but knocking off like Oppenheimer, the movie.
Oh, did they?
Oh, yeah, they did. It was hilarious.
Again, the social media presence for these bowl games is tremendous. Do you follow the Orange Bowl on Twitter?
I don't. Should I?
Orange Bowl is an outstanding Twitter follow. Just an outstanding, very, very funny
I love it.
Twitter follow. All right. After that, let's go. Does this rise to breaking news? Dennis, does the Wake Forest coach rise to breaking news?
No, I think we can do that.
Okay, do it. Why not?
Okay. I just, different sound bed and stuff here. I got to figure out where
I see. You don't you don't know where it is.
I don't know where Victoria
It's been a
puts
minute.
stuff. It's but I know where.
All right. Jake Dickert from Washington State, come on down. You're the next contestant. Think about what Jake Dickert, who's, by the way, been the head coach at Wazoo for the last 3.5 years, he took over for Nick Rolovich. You may recall that Rolovich, in the middle of the 2021 season, refused to get vaccinated and got fired. He refused to take the COVID vaccine. I am not getting into a political conversation about anything. I am simply stating that as a state employee, there are rules. If you don't follow the rules of the state, because you are a state employee, you are subject to the ramifications of not following said rules. I'm not talking about whether or not the rule is just. These are the rules. You had an opportunity to follow them. You declined. The university moved on from Nick Rolovich. So Jake Dickert went 3-3 in that year, 7-6 in 22, 5-7 in 23, both as members of the Pac-12. And then this year, even though it says independent on this sheet here, they were still Pac-12 members, even though there were only two teams, and they played mostly a Mountain West Conference. Anyway, Jake Dickert went 8-4. They were 8-1 at one point, and then they lost their last 3 games. So the larger point is this, and we talked about this yesterday. There's something about Wake Forest that has produced quality head coaches. Jim Grobe was essentially a 500 coach. He was 77-82, but he won an ACC title. Went to 5 bowl games in, I think, 13 years at Wake, which is awesome. And then that begat Dave Clawson, who resigned, Monday? After 11 years on the job, 7 straight bowl games. He won an Atlantic Division title a few years ago. It's hard to believe that you could find somebody who theoretically did a better job than Jim Grobe, but I think Dave Clawson probably did. So this is now from Grobe through Clawson. I think it's 24 years of quality football, putting guys in the NFL, putting guys on the All-ACC team. And now Jake Dickert, I want to get the name right.
Yeah.
He's the guy that is supposed to carry this into the next era. I am not critiquing Jake Dickert as a coach. This is not what it's about. I'm pointing out that it's been a really good quarter of a century run for Demon Deacons football. Hasn't all been great. There have clearly been some down years. The last 2 for Dave Clawson were both 4-8. Those would go under the category of disappointments, especially when you have set a standard. But man, this is good luck. It's not going to be easy to win at Wake. They have so many disadvantages. Smallest school, private school, smaller alumni, small stadium, not an enormous following, so it's not like you're going to sell 60,000 seat tickets to a game. NIL budget is not as deep. They have to expand it if they want to compete. It's just a very difficult place to win, and yet Grobe and Clawson won. Different era, though, right? This upcoming year is going to be. We've already heard a couple of coaches talk about the portal, and we'll get to those issues a little bit later on. But with the settlement coming from House versus the NCAA, and it's supposed to be in place in July, I don't know if that's going to happen. But the revenue sharing part of this is supposed to be in place, ready to be triggered in July for this upcoming season. It's going to put Wake and Duke and smaller Power 4 schools especially if you're not in one of those 2 bigger leagues, the wealthier leagues. So if you are, let's just throw out Iowa State, you have to compete in the same arena with Texas. I mean, I know you're not in the same league, but you are competing with everybody else in the Power 4. Iowa State doesn't have, I would say their budget is probably 1/6 the size of the University of Texas. I don't know how you do it. Wake Forest, same way. I don't know how you do it. The game is totally different now than it's ever been. And it's always been stacked against the Wakes and the Iowa States of the world, and now it's just going to get worse or wider, I guess. The gap will just widen. Whether that's worse or not, we'll find out. But anyway, good luck to Jake Dickert. All right, let's move on. I want to talk a little bit about North Carolina basketball here, the University of North Carolina basketball, and I will simply start by asking this question. Dennis, you can answer this.
Okay.
Is UNC in legitimate danger of missing the NCAA tournament?
Yes.
That is the correct answer. That doesn't mean they will. That doesn't mean that the damage is irreparable. They are 6-5. They are 1-5 right now in games that are, I would say, almost certainly going to be quad 1 games. The one exception, I think, to that is the game they won. I'm not sure that Dayton will be a top 50 team at the end of the year. They probably will. But it's possible also that they could end up around 60. And if that's the case, then that won't be a quad one win. But
Dayton did just beat Marquette the other day, which is a big boost for them.
Okay, well, then Dayton will definitely stay in the top 50, so that'll remain. That will be one quad one win. We've already talked extensively about the challenges that the Atlantic Coast Conference will have providing quad one win opportunities. Carolina has UCLA on Saturday, and then by the best of my ability, no more, and probably not quite, 6 quad one chances the rest of the way. That's it, 6. Virtually every game for a road team in the other leagues is going to be a quad one opportunity. For UNC, they have a home and home with Pitt, home and home with Duke. They're on the road at Louisville and at Clemson, and maybe all 6 will remain. Anyway, the point is they don't have too many chances to build a resume because there's just not that many good games. So if you're North Carolina, you know what the job is. Win about 13 conference games. Good luck. Because they have challenges to their team. Think about this. R.J. Davis scored 29 points last night. They were down 17 in the first half. Raleigh took a 4-point lead with under 4 minutes to go and then kind of disintegrated down the stretch. You could say they ran out of gas. Whatever. We're going to hear from Hubert Davis in a minute and R.J. Davis. But the reality is there's a reason they were down 17. There's a reason they get down. They were down 22, I think, to Dayton in the first half in Maui. I watched that. I'm like, what is going on here?
They've had a lot of big first half deficits in games this year.
In every quality game that the one I didn't see the Michigan State game. That was a competitive game. I think they lost in overtime. But the Dayton game, I think it was 55. Was it 55-33? Something like that. I think it was in the first half. Like, well, how do you do that? But they have serious challenges to overcome as a team, and I am not sure they can do it. So they were 5 of 28 from three-point range last night. Now, that is not as good as they normally shoot. They are, as a team, a little bit better than 30%. I think it's 31% from three-point range as a team. Davis, their best player, is shooting 25%. That's untenable. I assume he will get back to being a 40% three-point shooter, and maybe somebody's going to pay the price because he's going to go on a run. But where are the other threes coming from? Seth Trimble has been pretty good. Drake Powell has been pretty good. They don't shoot a ton, but they've been pretty good. Elliot Cadeau is not helping. He's also a 25% three-point shooter, and frankly, it's been a disappointing start to the year, I think, for Cadeau. We all love Cadeau as a player, but it's been a pretty disappointing start. He had 4 turnovers last night. He has kind of gotten lost in his feels during games. If you've watched, he's a pretty emotional player, and when it's not going well, it doesn't help. He can be great, but boy, they need him to be great. Defensively, they're not great. They're small in the backcourt. Their best 5 players on the court, probably all 6'7" or smaller.
Yeah, Venal Lubin's been starting, and he's listed at 6'8". Yeah, I don't know if he is.
But I'm talking about their best players.
Their best players, yeah.
They don't have a big who is in their best 5 players. Because I think their best 5 players are Powell, Jackson, and the 3 guards who start.
Yeah.
Those are their best 5 players.
Yep.
I think Drake Powell is 6'6". Ian Jackson, I love Ian Jackson.
He's good.
Right. This is a team without anything in the middle that can compete and give them legitimate presence. Jalen Washington, whatever I just tried to say, was that English?
Yeah.
Jalen Washington is the closest thing they've got to a big man, and I just don't think he is the caliber of who is going to compete against good teams. Not even against, Final Four caliber teams like they've played in Auburn and Alabama and Kansas. You got no chance in those games. But they got beat on the offensive glass. They're not a good defensive rebounding team. Like, Carolina's 223 in the country in defensive rebounding.
Yeah, not good.
They're not getting offensive rebounds. This is what Carolina basketball has been built on. Getting to the offensive glass, second chance points. It just hasn't been good. And I am legitimately worried. There's plenty of time to play well. But boy, I don't know if their defense is going to allow them to play well. Now, when you get inside the ACC, maybe you can win a whole bunch of games, but they're going to have to. They're going to have to be, 13, maybe 14 wins, I think, in order to because there's a lot of soft in the ACC. Real quick I want to hear from Hubert Davis. Davis on the repeated slow starts.
I can't explain to play with that type of energy and effort in the second half and not have that consistently in the first half or for an entire game is something that's been the consistent theme for us. Or it's not sustainable.
Yeah. You can't get down 17 points to a really good team, and Florida's a really good team. And maybe this Carolina team overscheduled. I don't know. Although some of the schedule was made for them, ACC, SEC Challenge, Maui Invitational. Maybe it would have been better for them to play Connecticut because Connecticut was a mess on the island also. But I thought they would beat Florida last night. I thought Carolina wouldn't get down 1,000 points early. Is what it is. UNC has a lot of work to do. Real quick about the Duke Blue Devils, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit. As Connor O'Neill told us yesterday, we were really talking about Dave Clawson, but we talked a little bit about the Duke game in advance of their tilt with George Mason last night. He said these two teams force teams to miss a lot of field goals. He was right. Duke shot a little bit 35% and won. It was a festival of missed jump shots. Cooper Flagg, though, had a big game, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. He is tremendous. He doesn't need...
Filling up the stat sheet.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be efficient to be impactful. The points were about volume shooting. Did get to the free throw line. He was 8 of 8. That's a good sign for Duke, by the way, that Cooper Flagg made all 8 free throws. Duke was 17 of 21 as a team. Kamen Malawak also had a good night at the free throw line. He was 6 out of 8. They got good production off the bench from Isaiah Evans, who made 3 threes. Tyrese Proctor had a decent game. The one red flag for Duke would be you allowed 41.7% offensive rebound success to George Mason. Something that bears watching. All right, to the Carolina Hurricanes, who beat the Islanders last night 4-0. Dennis, you were there on press row along with me, and I actually thought that through just about 30 minutes of the game, I thought the Islanders were every bit as good as Carolina, except when you looked at the scoreboard, and it said 3-0. The difference in the game last night, which had to be the greatest sign for Rod Brindamore, was that Pyotr Kochetkov was excellent.
He looked like a true number one goalie.
Start to finish, excellent. He bailed them out. For a good chunk of those first 30 minutes, the Islanders had more good scoring chances than the Hurricanes did. Kochetkov was on top of his game. Bo Horvat could have had 4 goals last night. He had none. Anders Lee could have scored a couple of times last night. Great chances, and Kochetkov denied him. Here's Kochetkov, who, in the third period especially, was trying to keep thoughts of his first shutout of the season out of his mind.
I try and no think about this, when 7 minutes and for the last period, I think, okay, I have couple ideas about this. I think, okay, just stay in net, relax, do your job, and because sometimes I have couple moments this season when I think about shutouts, next shot, goal. Today I just want stay in net. I want just win. I no think about shutout. Yeah, I'm happy. So it's always good for goalie, for team.
First of all, his English is way improved.
Very much so.
And he curses in English. Good for him.
He picked up on the keywords.
He absolutely did. My only assumption is that Sebastian Aho taught him, because Aho curses in English. He was great last night. And yes, what he's referring to, I don't know if you could pick it up, but what he's referring to is that he's had other really good games and has kind of let his foot off the gas late and allowed a soft goal, which didn't impact the outcome, but impacted his ability to record the shutout. And his biggest criticism, my biggest criticism of him, is that he loses focus. And you can't do that. Even in games that are tight. That happened against Ottawa on, Friday night, where it's a 1-0 game. Ottawa's got a 1-0 lead. It's pretty late in the third period. Your team hasn't generated a lot, but it's a one-shot hockey game. You're going to pull the goaltender at some point, maybe get even, drag it in overtime, and then let Natchez and Aho finish it off from there. And Kochetkov allowed a really bad goal. And there has been one of those in just about every game he has played. And you're just not going to get away with that as a steady diet even during the regular season, although they were outscoring those problems in the first month and a half. And then that stopped, and all of a sudden you went, oh, see, it does hurt. It does hurt when you give up a bad goal or two. But last night he was awesome. And I still don't know if he can be a true number one by himself. I still think they need somebody to pair with him. But last night he looked the part. And that was the best sign, I think, for Rod Brind'Amour, was that Kochetkov, he won the game. Because he was so good early, he allowed Carolina. By the way, the Islanders defensively are an absolute wreck. My gosh, how they allowed the power play goal to Andrei Svechnikov was so easy. Svech just came out of the corner, and the two defenders just kind of got out of his way. Like, come on, no, Andrei, come here. Here, just shoot. I was stunned, and then just I'm not going to say it was an unforced error by one of New York's defenders, but like he gave the puck away before he had to, and he gave it to Jordan Staal, who just bullied his way to the front of the net, and then his shot was stopped, but the rebound was right to Martinook, who won a physical battle with New York's defense, and it was another goal. 2-0 Carolina after the first period, and I'm not sure they were the better team at all. I actually think it was at best even. Maybe the Islanders were a little bit better. Anyway, goaltending for the first time in a long time won the game for the Hurricanes. When we come back, Ryan Wilson, CBSSports.com. We will talk about injured players, Bryce Young, and if you're the Panthers, who's the player you want in this draft? Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
During Bill Belichick's intro press conference for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, the Tar Heels football program was the center of the sports universe, not just the college universe, the sports universe in general. So now here's what they have to do. Convert all that buzz into success, all those eyeballs into dollars, and win.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey friends, it's Paul Ihander for FanDuel. If you are in need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook's got you covered with the Hump Day Parlays reward stack. Every Wednesday, you can get parlay profit boosts on everything from spreads to over-unders and even player props. Don't let the weekend have all the fun. Take advantage of the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack, and who knows, it might just become your favorite day. Look for the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack in your FanDuel app and find your profit boosts. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul. That's FanDuel.com/Paul. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Raleigh Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and may I help you? Yes, may I help you get rid of contact lenses and glasses forever? Actually, Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK can help you get rid of contact lenses and glasses forever. All you have to do is call 919-510-6830. The consultation is free. You can make that appointment online, traverslasik.com. Get rid of contacts and glasses and all the related inconveniences and costs forever. Travers LASIK, 919-510-6830. See what you've been missing.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. 6 more shopping days. That's it. 6 more shopping days. That's all you get. Get your favorite people what they want. I am Adam Gold. Dennis Cox on the ones and twos today. Victoria on assignment because she hates Wednesdays. And it has nothing to do with the fact that she does. It has nothing to do with the fact that Ryan Wilson from CBSSports.com with the First Pick podcast is here. She misses you. I know that. You are one of her favorites, Ryan. How are you?
Yeah, man. I mean, Victoria and I are close. Gotta keep it real. Buies Creek's pride and joy. Ryan Wilson is here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. Let me just start since I mentioned the pod, which you and Rick Spielman do an amazing job. It's fun listen, and you guys know what you're talking about. Panthers might pick 3rd, 4th, something like that. I mean, as long as they don't mess us up and win a game they shouldn't win, between now and the end of the season, which I loved the Bryce Young development tour for like 5 weeks, and they were still managing to lose games. It was like it was the best of all worlds. It wasn't his fault. They'd give up a touchdown drive or a field goal drive to Patrick Mahomes. Chuba Hubbard would fumble in overtime, or Xavier Legette would drop a pass that should have been a game-winning touchdown. So you get all the benefits of Bryce Young playing well without the nasty habit of screwing up your draft position. Obviously, they didn't play well this past week against Dallas. But if the Panthers, let's just say they end up with the third pick, is that the sweet spot for them? Are the two picks in front of 1 and 2, probably Giants and Raiders, are those going to be the quarterbacks?
Yeah, they almost have to be, right? We've seen what the offenses have looked like in Las Vegas and New York without a confident quarterback, or a healthy one for that matter. And while this quarterback class isn't anything like last year's in terms of depth and even talent at the top, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are going to be going 1 and 2 in some order unless something crazy happens. And I think the odds are 45-ish% that both the Vegas Raiders and the Giants end up in 1 or 2 in some form. And then that leaves the race wide open at 3 and beyond for the other teams. And if I'm Carolina, you have needs at edge rusher. Maybe even you take an interior defensive lineman. Mason Graham's a special player out of Michigan. Right. But if I'm picking third, it's pretty easy. I'm taking Travis Hunter, and I'm going to feel great about it. The fans are going to feel great about it, and he helps you. He's a 2-for-1 situation because he helps you on both sides of the ball. The only question, Adam, is you can't overuse him because if you play him 120 snaps, you're going to get 3 games out of him. You got to be judicious with that. But that's one you don't overthink. You take him and you move on and you regroup for rounds 2 and beyond.
And this is the way I would look at it. To me, I'd spot him at wide receiver. I'd treat him like the Falcons for a time, where the Cowboys treated Dion. You're a cornerback every snap, and we'll give you a series here and there on the offensive side of the ball because he is special. I don't know if he's the best wide. I think he's the best cornerback in the draft. I don't know if he's the best wide receiver in the draft, but he's on the short list of candidates. We haven't seen a prospect like this, in like 60 years. He's Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, and I think he's compared himself to Ohtani. And Tedero McMillan is my favorite wide receiver in this draft. He's 6'5", 200 plus. He's a more athletic Drake London, and that's encouraging. But you could take him at 3, but then you're missing out on the 2-for-1 deal that I just talked about. And J.C. Horn, when healthy, he's playing pretty well. And then you pair him with a Travis Hunter. Now you're cooking. Now you're working on some things, and then you can add 15 to 20 snaps maybe on offense where you just get the ball in Travis's hands and he takes over. He's not a refined route runner, but he is so much better than everyone else on the field. It leaves your jaw on the floor, and we spend our days watching football, and that's how special he has been. And he deserved to win the Heisman, and I think he's going to be a top 5 talent. If he's not, then I don't know what the NFL is thinking because he's that good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Heisman voter. He got my vote. I voted Ashton Jeanty 2 and Cam Ward 3. I don't even know what the order was. I know it was 1-2 between Hunter and Jeanty. It was pretty close. Jeanty had that kind of a season. He's a dynamite player, but unless you're about to win a Super Bowl, I wouldn't take a running back at number 2 overall, even if his name is Saquon Barkley. Ryan Wilson, CBSSports.com, joining us here. Real quick about Bryce. I don't think we've talked in the last month or so. What are your thoughts on what we have seen from Bryce Young?
I'm so happy for him because he's a great kid, number one. And number two, your point is a good one. He's playing pretty high ball except for last week, and they're also the benefit of losing football games, not because of Bryce. And I don't know what happened because after week 2 when he was benched and after watching every single snap a year ago, which was it felt like punishment at times for me, he feels like a different dude, right? Yep. And sometimes I don't know if it's the players in today's age to date myself, and I'm going to throw you in that bucket as well, but maybe they could use a little benching and it allows them to regroup. When Anthony Richardson got benched, I was talking to a scout that said, you know what, he'll be fine. This will get his head on straight and he'll come back and be better. And he has been better. Bryce has been better than that. And the thing that I've taken away most, Adam, and I think Dave Canales probably deserves a lot of credit here, Bryce's footwork feels like he's back at Alabama. It's not the frenetic footwork we saw the first 18 games of his career. He's standing in the pocket. He's not looking to bail early. He's not looking to bail to his right and then make some off-platform throw that inevitably is into a bad situation. He's staying in there. He's delivering the ball. He's throwing with anticipation like he did at Alabama, and it's been fun. And I think the underlying sort of takeaway for me is that when you play with confidence, you're a different player, no matter if you're Josh Allen or if you're Bryce Young. So credit to him, credit to Canales, and hopefully they can keep this thing going.
Yeah, I also think that they've moved him. They've let him use his legs in a designed way rather than you have to escape and fear for your life. All right, so let's continue talking about quarterbacks real quick. I don't think that the Kirk Cousins signing by Atlanta was a terrible thing. Did they pay him too much money? But get in line. Minnesota did too, as did Washington. Of course, Washington did so without a net, which was that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen a front office do. That wasn't done in Florham Park, New Jersey, by the Jets. But the truth of the matter is that they just waited too long. Probably they cost themselves any chance at a playoff spot. Kirk Cousins has been bad for 5 weeks now. Michael Penix, my guess is, has probably been ready earlier than this. What was the hesitation?
Well, I think it was a confluence of things. Number one, no one on planet Earth outside of maybe our buddy Jonathan Jones, who had this in his one and only mock draft the week before the draft, had the Falcons taking Michael Penix Jr. at 8 because the math didn't add up. You just signed Kirk Cousins.
Right.
And I'm not one to defend Kirk Cousins historically, and I would oftentimes give him a hard time previously. But he was playing some of his best ball last year before that Achilles injury. And he was doing some things that we had not seen him do consistently. And that's what the Falcons were banking on. And I think the takeaway, and the same takeaway with Aaron Rodgers, when you're mid to late 30s and pushing 40 and you have an Achilles injury, you're probably not going to come back as the player you once was. And Kirk was never known to be fleet of foot. And it just feels like his arm strength isn't there. We just talked about confidence. I don't think he has any confidence. And when you take a quarterback 8 and you just sign Kirk Cousins to a huge deal, that probably didn't help Kirk Cousins' confidence either. So taken together, I was of the opinion, Adam, that, okay, look, he has to come out and ball out against the Raiders the other night. And he didn't do that. Prior to that, the previous 4 games, 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the stuff of legend in the wrong direction. So I understand the move now. They're just in a bad spot. And maybe they were right to draft Michael Penix Jr., but if that's the case, why are you spending all that money on Kirk Cousins? And now we got to figure out what to do with him in the offseason. But for now, I think Michael Penix Jr. gives him the best chance. But you're asking a lot for a guy who hasn't played except a handful of snaps in Penix Jr. So, and the defense hasn't been great. So this will be interesting. Let's put it that way.
Well, no question. What they've done really is given away the advantage of having a cheap quarterback by having the most expensive backup in NFL history. Let me ask you about another quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. If you're the Chiefs, if you're Andy Reid, do you sit him for this game, or do you let him kind of gut his way through it to clinch, because they could lose the number 1 seed because Buffalo's only 2 games back and they have the tiebreaker with a win, so they're going to have to win probably twice because Buffalo has 3 bye weeks: New England, the Jets, and New England.
And by the way, this team is scoring 30 points like, most teams kick a field goal in the first quarter to get up 3. That's how good the Bills have been. And the Chiefs have been the exact opposite with a healthy Patrick Mahomes for a myriad reasons, starting with the offensive line play. I would imagine, given what we've seen historically with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, just even the preseason sort of conversations, he's going to be out there if he's got one working leg, and for the reasons you talk about, because the Bills ain't no joke.
No.
And the Bills in Buffalo is going to be a real problem for whoever has to go in there in January, including the Chiefs. So I think the Chiefs want to keep every advantage they have. And if that means Patrick has to gut it out on 1.5 legs versus the Texans, then that's what you do. And fingers crossed you keep him healthy, because I don't know that Patrick Mahomes at 80% in Buffalo in January does you any good. If you can sort of gut this out and get Patrick Mahomes 80-85% at home in January against the Bills, you're in a better situation. So I'm still waiting for the Chiefs to sort of figure it out. And everyone says just be patient, it'll happen. And typically it does happen. But I don't remember the last time we saw an offense like this Bills offense and Josh Allen playing like he's Derek Jeter in his prime for the Yankees. He's doing things that don't even make sense. And that's a real concern for whoever has to face Buffalo.
I mean, I keep saying this, and I know it doesn't necessarily translate, but in this case, I think it might, in that I have a terrible fantasy football team, but I have Josh Allen. so I'm in the semifinals.
Amen. That's how it works.
Makes no sense. I drafted him too early. I was ridiculed for that. Yahoo gave me a D+ for my draft. They did. And I think they even mentioned you drafted a quarterback too soon. The Lions' health, how much of that is a concern for you, considering that they're tied with the Eagles and the Vikings, all at 12-2? Packers probably too far back to catch them, but there's a lot of banged up bodies. They said that Aiden Hutchinson is going to be back for the Super Bowl, which is great, except that last I checked, you don't get a bye all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is a bad situation, and it's no one's fault but bad luck. Dan Campbell, sometimes he's too adventurous for some people's taste, but it's worked out well in the long run for the Lions in terms of winning these football games. Brad Holmes has been great as a GM, and you just, when you run out of bodies, I don't know what to do. And I don't know if Dan Campbell has probably verbalized that publicly. He probably thinks about it when he sees the cart come out for the next player on the field. They just can't seem to stay healthy, and they're signing guys literally off the street to help them out. Jamal Adams is playing. He was on the field the other night for them, and you just have to hope ain't the plan, but you have to hope that Jared Goff can play like he did, throwing punch for punch with Josh Allen and just sort of willing that team into the end zone as they try to somehow get healthy, because they're a better team on paper than the Eagles, and the Eagles I know are red hot, and they're certainly a better team on paper than the teams behind them, sort of sneaking up on them, trying to give them a little push in the NFC. But I don't know how you play without players. And you know, Mike Tomlin told me a long time ago, back when he was the DC of the Vikings before he got the Steelers job, and they got absolutely steamrolled by Tom Brady in a primetime game, and he said sometimes you don't have the players, and you know, it ain't going to work out for you, and that was one of those instances. So fingers crossed they can find a way to get healthy, and Jared Goff can help them out in the meantime.
That's Ryan Wilson, CBSSports.com, with the First Pick podcast, at Ryan Wilson CBS on Twitter. Merry and a happy to you and yours. I thank you so much. We'll talk to you after the first.
Happy holidays, Adam.
Take care, man. Bowie's Queek? Oh. I said Bowie's Queek.
What are we doing?
I said Bowie's Queek.
I heard that.
I can't. I need sleep. I must need sleep. I was at the
Shout
hockey
out
game.
Campbell Camels and Bowie's Creek.
Bowie's Creek. I'll see you later. Take care.
Happy holidays, brother.
You got it, Ryan Wilson. Oh, my gosh. All right, we got a break now. When we come back, one-timers next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's that time of year when we pack our bags for exciting adventures with friends and family. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated. So make sure you don't miss that flight and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider for your updated flu and COVID-19 shots. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we've got the NBA on our minds. And FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from who will win the game to how many points a player will score. We got parlays, we got totals, we have everything, player props as well. Plus, you can check out newer bets, number of dunks, assists, three-pointers in the next 3 minutes. My gosh, we're getting specific, aren't we? It doesn't matter if you tap into FanDuel before the game starts or after it's already tipped off. You can pick up a dub whenever, and now's the perfect time to do it. New customers, bet $5, win that bet, get $150 in bonus bets. How about that? FanDuel.com/AGS for your chance to win. Have a ball. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You wouldn't ask your mechanic to help stage your property for an open house. As NC Realtors, we're experts who make buying or selling property easier for you. Using the latest technology and armed with local insights, our Realtors help you find properties you would want to call home. We also know which details make your property more attractive to other buyers. From start to finish, our Realtors know. Find out more at ncrealtorsknow.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
No. Can we say going yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Dennis Cox on the ones and twos today. Chip Patterson joins us in 25 minutes. Dave Dorn had some things to say on this program yesterday about the transfer portal. SMU head coach Rhett Lashley, who was doing a college football playoff opening round game news conference yesterday, had some things to say about the transfer portal and the timing of it all. We will get to those things coming up. Chip Patterson will talk about that with us, and he's always got a pretty good perspective on all these things, but you know that because you've listened to Chip before. Right now, questions and answers. It's one-timers. Dennis Cox has the questions today.
Yes, I do.
I'll see if I have any answers. We'll see.
Since you just had a conversation with the pride of Bowie's Queek, Ryan Wilson. I can't help it. But since you just had a conversation about the NFL draft and the Carolina Panthers, with the injury of Jonathan Brooks, do you see the Carolina Panthers maybe at some point in this upcoming draft, maybe not a high pick, but at some point in the draft, drafting another running back?
I think that's one of the positions where, 5th, 6th, 7th round, you should. Mm-hmm. Like in every draft, you should do that. There's undrafted running backs that you can use in the league. Like, you need 3. You got to go into every season. You might even need more than that going into the start of the season. So, yes, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, or just bring in a ton of undrafted free agent running backs, but yeah, I do.
Okay. Next one up here. We had a conversation to start the show about Wake Forest. They have themselves a new football coach.
Oh, speaking of Phil Luongo.
Oh.
The head coach at Sam Houston State. Why are you staring at me like that?
I did not realize that. Phil Longo.
Sam Houston State. Raise a glass to the, I don't know what their nickname is.
To the Sam Houstons.
The Cowboys.
Okay.
Maybe.
So Phil Longo, former offensive coordinator at UNC.
Yep.
Okay. Well, congrats to him.
Yep.
All right. This one. Wake Forest, new football coach. Does Wake Forest make a bowl game this coming season? After back-to-back 4 and 8 years to close out the Dave Clawson era.
No. There'll be a little bit of a rebuild. They have to get everything settled with the way the world works now in college sports, college football specifically. But I don't believe they're a bowl team now. I think they'll probably be hit pretty hard in the transfer portal with outgoings, with Dave Clawson stepping down. But Wake Forest has proven that there is a culture of good football there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I trust John Curry to make the right hire. But this is, man, it's tough to follow these two acts. Man, Jim Grobe, we thought it would be hard to follow Jim Grobe. And Dave Clawson took maybe a little bit further, just a hair further.
7 straight bowl appearances under Dave Clawson.
Amazing.
And
I mean, now basically,
if
if
ACC championship game.
Well, it's true. If you can walk and chew gum, you can make a bowl game. But because there are so many, but that's fine. I got no problem with. I'll take more bowl games. I'm pro bowl game, even though I won't watch any of them. I don't.
All right, that's fair. All right, final one here for you. We actually had a conversation about this earlier. UNC basketball. Answer me this: do they make the NCAA tournament?
Wow.
The fact that we're even asking that question in late December is concerning in and of itself.
All right, since this is a predictive situation right now, I can only make my predictions based on what I have seen, and what I have seen tells me that they will not make the NCAA tournament. I think their challenges up front are too big to overcome. And I don't think, even when R.J. Davis has a self-correction and ends up the season shooting 36% from three-point range, which means in order to do that, he's going to have to shoot about 44% from right now to get to that point. Maybe, about 43, 44% from three right now. He's kind of always been a volume shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I love him, everything about R.J. Davis. But I think the fact that they don't have a quality big man, and I think their perimeter players, their 3 starting guards, are small.
Oh, yeah.
Seth Trimble plays bigger because he's 6'3" and an amazing athlete. Cadeau doesn't. Davis doesn't. And I think the challenges defensively on the wing are going to they're going to be enough that the fact that they don't have bigs are really going to hurt them. So I say no. Say they will not make the tournament. And look, this is what has been said to me. I am not in any way suggesting that these are my feelings, that if they don't make the NCAA tournament, it could be a very difficult spring for Hubert Davis, right? They had the 1 year. It was sort of, lightning in a bottle with Brady Manick. Going to be a tough spring.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, my very dear friend Gordon Miller. Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road and Cary. And Gordon invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987. He saw a market inefficiency because people were paying closing costs when they didn't have to. Because as rates drop, and mortgage rates fluctuate, they go up, they go down. They're going to come down even lower. Gordon has told me they're going to be in the 5s during the next calendar year. But as the rates come down, people want to refinance, take advantage of lower rates. But if you have paid closing costs, which effectively just buys down the rate a little bit, saves you about $50 a month. If you pay closing costs and then you want to refinance, you've just wasted closing cost money, unless you wait about 8 years until you refi. You're not going to do that. You want to take advantage of lower rates. Miller Lending, this is the place to go. This is the place you'll save the most money. Always get the best rate. Miller Lending, an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
Fruitcake! You shouldn't have. Wow, a candle.
Spread joy, not junk, with the Autobell Car Wash Holiday Sale. Visit Autobell to buy one Super Poly Process Wash and get one 40% off.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes available online or in person. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted.
Not available in Washington State.
Hey guys, this is Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and we know that you want to get your wife or girlfriend something special this Christmas. But sometimes you just don't know what to get. You wonder, what will she like? What will make her feel special? What will make her say, wow? At Bailey's Fine Jewelry, we have experts that are here to help. We specialize in making you look like a hero. You can even send her in to make a wish list that we keep on file to help make your life just a little bit easier. Bailey's has the largest selection of jewelry in North Carolina, including designers like David Yurman, Lagos, Marco Biccigo, and Apolita, as well as beautifully curated Bailey's collections. And don't fret, because if for some reason she doesn't love your gift, we have a 30-day return policy. Our goal is to be your go-to jeweler for life. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, located in Raleigh's Village District, Crabtree Valley Mall, and Cary's Fenton. Also in Rocky Mount and Greenville. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everybody, it's Paul Ihander for Game Day Men's Health. And this is the time of year when I start to think about how to improve myself. And if you're like me, you want to kick off the new year as the best possible version of yourself. And that's where Game Day Men's Health comes in. Experience an incredible transformation with therapy tailored to your body's needs. Feeling sluggish, low libido, difficulty losing weight, and building muscle mass? Game Day has a treatment to help you feel like your best self again. Go to GameDayRaleigh.com today and book your complimentary testosterone test and consultation.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It can work because Bill Belichick spent a lot of time with his son around Washington, where he got to see high-level power conference athletes be able to undergo coaching from Jed Fish, who, by the way, is a little bit more of an NFL-style college coach as well. So it could work. I don't think it makes sense, though, in the sense that how long is Bill Belichick going to be there? I don't think it makes sense in terms of the total trust, if there is a succession plan, that Steve Belichick has got the goods to be able to lead you into the future. Right. And I don't think that it makes sense, because if you get all this financial investment and you don't get the results that you want, what do you do then?
I talked about this yesterday, and Chip Patterson will join us in 15 minutes. This is very transactional, I think, on both parties. I think this is transactional from Bill Belichick's perspective, and I think it's transactional from the University of North Carolina's perspective. I think everybody is on board with this being a 3-year experiment. And if it works, then they'll continue this experiment, maybe with somebody who will be on the UNC staff, which, frankly, as far as we know, really hasn't been developed just yet. We know Freddie Kitchens is here. He'll be coaching the Tar Heels in the bowl game. I am Adam Gold. This is the Adam Gold Show. Hiya. That's Dennis Cox sitting in for Victoria, who hates Wednesdays.
She does, apparently.
She is, what is that song? Was it the Boomtown Rats or was it just Bob Geldof? Tell Me Why I Don't Like Mondays?
Sure.
She writes, Tell Me Why I Don't Like Wednesdays.
Okay.
She's never here on Wednesday anymore. So to the point where Chip has a complex. Chip thinks it's about him. It's not. We're going to talk college football playoff with Chip. We'll also talk about some of the things we will mention here in our second run-through of the news of the day. We like to call it Take Two. So here's what we're going to do. Let me just start off quickly about the hockey game last night because I really didn't get into it. We talked about how good Pyotr Kochetkov was, and he was excellent. Best game start to finish all year because the Islanders tested him. The Islanders could have scored. Matter of fact, I went through the numbers yesterday, and I did it for the podcast. Canes Corner podcast available wherever you get your podcast, live on YouTube after the postgame show of every Hurricanes game, except when I'm not doing the game. So, like in January, there'll be a couple of those. But last night, Kochetkov faced 11 high-danger chances and saved 11.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, as it turns out, he's actually one of the better goalies in the NHL in high-danger situations. I believe he's top 10 in the league in those situations. Better than Igor Shesterkin. No joke. Well, although this year, Shesterkin right now is in a tough spot because the Rangers are a mess. But he's right there with Connor Hellebuck, who might be the best goalie in the sport. So he's been good in those situations. It's the others. He's giving up so many bad goals that it has hurt him. Last night, he was great start to finish. Expected goals against for Kochetkov last night was 3.5. That's a pretty good effort. When your XG against is 3.5 and you allow none. Really good performance. But some other things that jumped out to me about the game. I don't know how many games in a row this is now, but Jordan Stahl's line is unplayable. You cannot deal with them. They are so big, and they're not that big, but Jordan Stahl plays like he's 9 feet tall. Mm-hmm. He is Stahl Bunyan. Jordan Martinook is playing at, I think, the highest level he's ever played at. He is so good right now. And William Carrier plays the same way they play. They play behind the net. They get the puck out in front. They see what happens. They create tons of scoring chances. But because it's Stahl, Martinook, and Carrier, when they're together, they don't score a lot. They have the last couple of days. 3 5-on-5 goals combined the last 2 games. They were the best line. Not even close. Best line on the ice last night and the game before. They were tremendous. And halfway through the game, we saw the Aho line flip. Mm-hmm. They didn't change personnel. They went from being not so good to being great. And it started before they got the goal right at the end of the period where Robinson and Aho went on a 2-on-1. There was actually a really good play made by Seth Jarvis to allow the puck to get through. He had to lift the stick of an Islander player so that puck would go all the way up the boards to Robinson. Great play. But that line started to impose their will on the game, I would say, with about 5 minutes left in the second period, and then they were great in the third. So those are good signs when your best player, Aho, starts playing his game. And if you think about it, he's been, I would say, no better than a B so far this year, and he's got 33 points in 31 games.
Yeah.
That's his B. So I do think that when Aho gets to his game and it becomes more consistent and he impacts the game offensively, I think Carolina is going to see just how good he can be. And you got Natchez playing at a high level. Even though he's in a little bit of a dip now, it was always going to happen. He wasn't going to score, have 140 points this year. But get Svechnikov playing a little bit better, and Carolina will be okay. But it was good to see Aho play well, and the goaltending, of course, is the most important thing. All right, to college football. So we talked to Dave Doran yesterday. And Doran, I asked him about the transfer portal. I referenced the fact that Duke is about to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. No, they're playing in the Gator Bowl. Gator Bowl. I think Carolina's playing in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, are they? Somebody, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Duke's playing in the Gator Bowl, and I don't know who's going to be the quarterback because their top 2 quarterbacks are in the transfer portal.
I guess it's Henry Beelin.
Maybe. Is he still there?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought he was a senator.
He might be.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, they have 2 quarterbacks in the portal. They have a quarterback coming in out of the portal. He should be allowed to play. Anyway, this is the time of the year where you get a lot of this stuff happening, and it's no good. And Dave Doran went and, I don't know, maybe took it to another level.
I think what's happening right now is tragic, and it's broken. It's impacting my team a lot. It's impacting everyone's team. It's not necessarily always star players that you're missing.
True.
But, if you got 20 guys that leave your team, even walk-ons are leaving teams because they want to get on the field somewhere, it impacts practice, and your scout teams. It impacts your depth charts on special teams.
All right, so that's Dave Doran's thoughts. Doran went on to say, and we'll get into the other part with Chip, where he wants to move the calendar of the college football season up a month to where you're kicking off at the end of July. Look, there's pluses and minuses to a lot of things. He makes some sense about it being a one-semester sport, and now it isn't. But so we'll get into the maybe the solution phase with Chip Patterson. But there is something wrong about the portal opening before the season ends, because these bowl games count on this season. They're not next year's games, they're this year's games, not to mention the playoff. And, I have other thoughts on that. Here's Rhett Lashley, the head coach at SMU. They've got a playoff game, and he's talking about the timing.
We talk about making a system that is all great for them, but we haven't. I mean, that's part of your job as adults, is to do what's best for young people, not what they want necessarily. And they don't want this. Yes, they want the ability to transfer and go where they want to go if they don't like their situation. Yes, they want the ability to make money on their name, image, and likeness. Neither one of those are bad things. There's no other sport at all that has free agency in the season. It's sad. It's terrible. You hear the story about their backup quarterback saying, "I don't have a choice." That's wrong. That's unacceptable. That's not okay. He shouldn't have to make that decision. Preston here is doing the same thing. Now, he has chosen to stay with us, and we're working with him, but it's still a juggling act for him. Oh, and let's not forget they're in finals right now. So, yeah, the real easy thing is you don't have a transfer portal in December. That's the real easy answer.
Yeah. That to me is the smartest thing. Don't have a transfer portal in December. The problem there is that when the new semester starts in the beginning of January in a lot of places, and you have to be in school by like the 2nd or 3rd week of January, otherwise you're not eligible, then it sort of necessitates that you have a transfer. You understand what I'm saying? Because the schools are not on the same calendar. They're all different types of calendars. By the way, for Rhett Lashley, I would point out, and maybe he is not aware of this, but in European soccer, not only is there free agency in the middle of the season, there's a month-long transfer window in January. A month of it. The transfer window doesn't close until all of the European leagues have been going for a month. So you can add a player on August 31st after you've been playing for 3 weeks. So there is in-season free agency, but that's their culture, right?
Yeah.
Right. In our culture here, we don't have it. It is, so I understand what he is saying, but because I know there are people probably going, wait a second, no, there is. So we just pointed out. Chip Patterson will join us when we come back. We'll talk about the 4 playoff games. We'll talk about what Dave Doran and Rhett Lashley have said, and we'll get into more about Bill Belichick coming to North Carolina next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
The Blue Devils up 21-20, and they got their arms reaching for
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Coach Pete Duruta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. Why do I call him Coach Pete? People have asked me that, and I tell him because he has a total customized game plan for your retirement needs. Not everybody has the same needs. Not everybody is at the same place along the employment spectrum. Not everybody wants to retire early. Some people want to work for the rest of their lives. Coach Pete can design a customized retirement plan for you, for your needs, where you are and all of that, that will give you everything you need when you do decide to hang them up. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700. Same deal. We're going to get you that total customized game plan for free. It's a $1,000 value for somebody else. Coach Pete Duruta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. 888-843-0013. 888-843-0013 for Coach Pete.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with, cold hard cash.
Anyone else?
Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch.
New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
During the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of built-to-serve Ram trucks. And right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry to the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event today. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2/25.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
This is Adam Gold.
I'm definitely, if I had my choice, I'd say I'd go with the real tree. Just the whole thing, it just brings up what Christmas is all about. I kind of enjoy that, but we're no longer doing that.
I am a real tree, and then last year my wife threw a curveball at me and we had an artificial tree, and I didn't like it.
The Adam Gold Show.
Chip, no! Chip, don't do it!
But my friends call me Chip. How am I supposed to chip with that going on, Doug?
Chip had the music blasting. We're not gonna take it.
Oh, very good. That's almost as good as when we used to have audio of Chip playing the college football theme song. Like with his mouth trumpet. I don't even know what to call it. Chip could probably do it. Chip Patterson, CBSSports.com, Cover 3 podcast moderator. I missed that. How are you? Exactly. That's, oh, man. In advance, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you, man.
Right back at
and
you.
yours. I value these Wednesdays. They're my favorite days of the week. every week. So that's my gift back to you. Let's just start with what we talked about last week, and we were still sort of in speculation mode. I guess we knew it was going to happen. And then we got the news.
I think I remember it was, hey, this might pop during the show,
right.
So FYI.
Exactly. And the press conference was the next day and all of that. Right. What are, since you and I actually have not spoken in a week, what are your thoughts now that he's in place? We still don't really know the makeup of the coaching staff. Right. There's been some positive recruiting news. The quarterback is sticking around. The one that they had signed for was Bryce Blake. I'm not
Bryce Baker.
I was close.
4-star kid, good player.
Yeah.
You probably don't necessarily want him to be the starter for the first game of the Bill Belichick era against TCU, but you've got another year of eligibility with Max Johnson. I guess we'll find out from Jacoby Criswell what his future is going to be. And look, I think that there's probably still some portal interest out there for another quarterback as well. So
should be.
I just love that his first portal signee was a center from Holy Cross. I mean,
they got a center from Holy Cross and a player from Delaware.
Mr. like 6th round draft pick from Marist, is of course going to be finding all these lacrosse players that are overlooked and under recruited. Why do we even need $20 million in NIL? I mean, Bill Belichick, he doesn't like first round picks. Why is he going to need $20 million in NIL?
How many times will he trade back in the transfer portal?
Yeah, that's exactly. So the thing that has stood out to me, and I'm glad that we actually did get a chance to see the press conference in addition to get all this, sort of fallout, let everything sink in a little bit. But when North Carolina Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham multiple times in that press conference mentions this is a risk, this is a gamble, we are doing something that we have not done. We'll see how it goes. I think that is some of the most honesty that you might get from North Carolina leadership on the topic.
Sure.
Because you spin it out with stuff that I do believe in. Your favorite, Indiana. The Indiana example, that somebody went to Indiana and said there might be a time in the future where simply being in the Big Ten is not good enough to be at the highest levels of college football. Like there might be a time where you need to have a serious football program to be a part of whatever Super League or Super League type system exists, because that will be where the big media rights deal is signed. And everybody else will be playing second fiddle the same way that the American Athletic Conference does, the same way that the Big East does with its basketball conference, but that the really, really big money that the university and the whole athletic department gets to spend, that will be reserved for serious football schools in the future. And maybe somebody inside North Carolina is thinking, look, just being North Carolina and having all these national championships and all these other sports might not get us to that level. So we need to at least start getting serious about football. The reason why I like the fact that they are saying risk and they are saying gamble, that's because you could be Texas A&M, spend just as much as anybody else, and be 8-4 and not have a conference title for decades. Because Texas A&M, while that doesn't stretch back to 1980, they have valued football, prioritized football, spent in football. They have not won a conference title since 1998, and they have not won a national championship since definitely before Vietnam. I think it's like the 50s or the 40s or something. So just spending and just investing will not equal wins. That is the risk. That is the gamble. But all that said, I've never seen North Carolina go for it like they're going for it. So we'll see. It's great. This will be great to watch.
This is the way I've termed it. I talked about it extensively on Thursday. It's one of the great experiments we have seen in intercollegiate athletics. It is a massive risk. There will be a massive outlay of private money that is helping to fund what needs to be funded here. I mean, I'm just really estimating. Now, we know the university is going to set aside 20-some-odd million for the revenue sharing whenever House versus the NCAA and that settlement is instituted. It's supposed to be instituted in July, I believe. It's supposed to be ready to go then. But who knows if it's going to be ready to go and what it will look like, because there's still so much to be decided with that. But let's just assume they do figure this out, which is probably not necessarily a good assumption with something as complicated as this. So North Carolina is going to have revenue sharing money. They're paying, the coaching staff and the GM staff, because Bill said he's going to have two different staffs, coach and then managing personnel, everything else that's connected to it. The coaches aren't going to be cheap. We know Bill's going to make $10 million a year, plus all those bonuses. My guess is with the private NIL, because that's going to be a supplement to what the university provides in revenue sharing money, I think you're talking about anywhere from $50 to $70 million a year, and the university isn't going to fund all that. So that's a lot of private donations. You have to have a return on investment there. That's like I talked about this being a pass-fail, and the pass threshold is like an A. Everything else below an A is a failure.
That was, of course, I get boxed into a little bit of a corner, but I accept that. I mean, I've been with the company for long enough that I should be expected to be a voice of authority on the matter. And because I went to North Carolina and because I live here, they were like, all right, Carolina guy. Okay, Carolina guy. What you got to say, Carolina guy? And so I really thought about it. And kind of what you're saying is what I ended up writing as sort of my own, because I didn't know if you knew this, but Bill Belichick content is great for business.
No way. That's what I was trying to tell people. How excited I was, because, look, this is good. This is going to be awesome for us. Perfect.
There is no limit on the number of columns, angles, and takes that we were looking for on Bill Belichick. But what I said was, look, then raise your standard, right? I mean, they're just like, don't let Bill Belichick make $10 million a year. Don't be spending all this money on NIL and all this money on hiring all of his coaches and building out a pro pipeline to just get the same results that Mac Brown is getting. Hold him to a standard of being transformational. Mm-hmm. If you're going to make a transformational investment, then make him deliver transformational results. And the way that I said it in the column was, it's been 45 years since they won an ACC championship. Generations of North Carolina football fans might not think championships are possible because they just haven't seen it. And so while there's an onside kick attempt against Clemson and, a 9-win season that did end up playing for a conference title, real ACC championship contention is just not something that true generations of North Carolina alums and fans have ever believed. It was just something fun you did until basketball season got going. You want to win more games than you want to lose. You want to have some good players come through the program. But internally, culturally, the standard just has not even been considered the idea that you should be on Florida State's level. You accepted being a lesser than. And so if you're going to spend like Florida State spends, then you should hold yourself to the standard that Florida State does, and that is competing for championships. So the pass-fail, in my opinion, is whether or not Bill Belichick leaves Chapel Hill and ends his time as a head coach with an ACC title.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you can get away with, 8 or 9 wins in year one, right? But you have to be double digits. You have to be, pushing for a spot in the college football playoff. You got to be playing for conference championships, all of that. There's no doubt. The way this is framed, with the amount of money that is being poured into it, you have to get over that hurdle. Otherwise, it is a failure. And
or a poor investment, which equals failure.
I mean, that's a failure.
Maybe North Carolina crashes out and they walk away from this like, you know what? We aren't a football school. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that at all. Look, what I don't know is what the stomach is for how long they'll put up with, like, after 1 year. So let's just say you go 9-3, which would be a good year, honestly, for North Carolina. And I would say that 7, 8, 9 of their games will be either primetime games or feature games on network television. Because Bill Belichick is going to be a fascination for everybody, especially in a lot of ways, it's like Dion. when he first got to Colorado. So I'm just curious for how long people will put up with it. I think the stomach for it is probably not more than 3 years. But I think this is transactional anyway. I think Bill's using the university, and I think the university's using Bill. And I'm okay with it because I don't see how anybody could believe that he's here for the college experience. It's an experiment for him, too.
I've started to buy into the spite angle.
Oh no, but I think that's part of it being transactional.
You don't think I can do it anymore? Yeah. Well, watch this, NFL, and you jump into college and you bring all your boys back and you take over a place where there's a hunger and there's no desire, there's no path, there's no blueprint. So I get it. I under like you said, who gets more out of this? Bill Belichick. Does Bill Belichick get more out of North Carolina, or does North Carolina get more out of Bill Belichick? My guess is that Bill Belichick will get more out of North Carolina. I believe that it is possible, though, that North Carolina could end up on the other side of this, just forever changed in terms of the way that it treats football and the way that it treats athletics. And like we said, it's good for business. It's a lot of fun to talk about.
It is, yes, it's great for us. I explained that to somebody who's a former professional athlete, and I said, "Oh no, this is awesome for me."
Very good.
And he goes, "You're so selfish." I'm like,
"Yes,
no, I root for the show.
I root for me."
Yeah, exactly.
I would like for my predictions to come true. I would like for my opinions to sound smart based on the results of the game. And I would root for not having to go to 8 overtimes on Thanksgiving weekend when all I want to do is go to bed.
My gosh. I would like to fix overtime in college football. You should help me do that. All right, so Rhett Lashley and Dave Durham both had things to say about the transfer portal and the timing of everything. Lashley says there shouldn't be a December portal. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. Dave Durham called it tragic that we're seeing players not finish what they start. I get it. Coaches do that too, by the way. What are your thoughts on the portal and how it's impacting bowls? It won't impact playoff games just yet, but I think it's only a matter of time. Who did it impact?
Penn State quarterback Bo Pribula probably gets 10 snaps a game. He's the backup to Drew Aller, but he is a rushing threat who has his own package. They use it on third down. They use it in the red zone around the goal line. He entered the transfer portal, and he is not playing.
So that is an impact.
Yeah.
Okay.
SMU backup quarterback Preston Stone is in the transfer portal.
He started the season as the quarterback.
But he is planning to be with the Mustangs for as long as SMU is in the college football playoff. And we've got other players as well already in the transfer portal, but sticking with their team. Devin Brown, Ohio State quarterback, is another one. Haven't seen it at many positions other than quarterback, but quarterback is the great game of musical chairs in the transfer portal anyway because of the position scarcity. So it is something we could have seen coming. We absolutely could have seen it coming. Yeah. That this is one of the this is just one of the final last things that we've got to deal with when it comes to the NCAA, which is in charge of the calendar. It's continued belief in what the NCAA calls the student-athlete experience, the fact that these big businesses operate under the umbrella of universities that have academic calendars, and that they are required to have certain eligibility standards to compete on these teams. Because the reason why we've got the portal window right now is so that, and look, you might need to suspend disbelief, y'all, but it's so they can actually get into school.
Right.
You know?
I talked about this earlier.
It's so they can actually sign up for classes.
Right.
It's so that they can enroll at their next university in time for the next semester.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be paying them, and if there's going to be revenue sharing, and if they're going to be considered employees, we could have a transfer portal whenever you want. We could move it all around because maybe then we're not actually tying them to academic eligibility. But as long as we are, then this is when the portal window's got to be. So are you willing to completely separate from the idea that the academic experience is part of the college football experience? Then sure, put the portal wherever you want. But as long as you're holding on to that, white knuckling it as best you can.
Mm-hmm.
This is when the portal window is going to be, which in conclusion, I didn't get a chance to hear the clip yet, but I love Dave Doran's one semester plan.
We want to hear it? We have
you have it locked and loaded because I read the quote and I liked it a lot.
He said it yesterday on this program.
Right.
Here
That's
we go.
what I thought.
Last year when we played Kansas State, between the two teams, there was 45 guys that didn't play. And so there's a huge impact. And how do you fix it? I think you start the season earlier. You finish the season earlier before the second semester begins, including bowl games. Have the national championship game be on January 1st so that it is a one-semester sport. And you put the portal window after the bowl games. That's my opinion. I don't know another way because right now it's designed for people not to finish.
I mean, there's a lot to that. Of course, people will say, "Are we playing noon games in July?"
I get it. I understand that trying. There are stadiums throughout the college football hotbed that is the Southeast where they're saying we simply cannot be hosting 50,000 fans outside.
Right.
I mean, it is a public health concern for us to do that. So I get that, but it's just, man, that was a lot of sense to me that if you're going to hang on to this, make it a one semester sport. And I had believed that we are going to bump this season up eventually.
Sure.
I know that is tough because of all the tradition that comes with a Labor Day start, but I think that you would be helping more on the back end. And also, national championship on New Year's Day is kind of a killer idea.
The best.
New Year's Day is college football's day, and this year it's only going to be for quarterfinals.
Yeah.
We should have games of more significance on New Year's Day than just the Elite Eight.
Yeah, look, we talk so much about tradition. That's college football tradition. New Year's Day is college football tradition. See, everything is about money, and if money and tradition line up, then we're about tradition. But as soon as money and tradition don't line up, we don't care about tradition. That's just the way of the world in college sports these days. It is first and foremost about money. What Dave Doran is talking about is probably bad for television ratings. My guess is television ratings in July are probably not going to be as good, and early August not going to be as good as they are in September, right? I mean, I'm just going to guess. I think it'll suffer when we get to the summer where people are doing other things because they're out of school and all of
like the kids aren't on campus.
Right,
Yeah, I get it. But man, that's like make it a one semester sport is a great idea.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's the two biggest sports are not one semester sports because basketball, which kind of used to be a one semester sport because we didn't start till after Thanksgiving with college basketball. Now we start at the beginning of November, and it truly is a two semester sport. All right, let me get to the 4 games, the 4 quarterfinals. So we're just going to pick them. All right, I've already written down my picks. And I'm going to do this as a 14 parlay because I'm horrible at it, but maybe I'll get lucky. First game.
Have you tried a round robin?
Oh, you're going to have to tell me about this offline.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I don't even know if I've got a full grasp on it.
Okay,
I
good.
just like anything else, I try it. Your boy will try almost anything once. Famous last words.
That's fantastic. Indiana, Notre Dame. Indiana, Notre Dame, Friday night.
I got Indiana plus the 7.5, but I do think Notre Dame wins outright.
I like Indiana plus the 7.5. With 7.5, I saw 7. I'll take 7.5 because I do like Indiana. SMU at Penn State without the quarterback who's taking his package to the portal.
I think this one is the highest probability of the game going sideways. I would take Penn State minus the 8.5. And I might take some Penn State alt lines as well, because if Penn State puts SMU in a hole, SMU will not be able to come back the way it did against Clemson. Not in that setting, not against that team, not in that weather.
I agree. I actually think that, if I was going to take it, I think I would take SMU plus the 8.5 simply because I think they can be explosive. But watching enough of the Big Ten championship game, Penn State's super impressive.
Yeah, they're good.
A big physical team that I think could overwhelm SMU. But I thought SMU was terrified. They looked terrified in the beginning of that game against Clemson. They might be able to score some points.
And look, some of that's on Clemson for trying to go into a 2-minute offense with 40 minutes left in the game.
Okay. The comeback.
The comeback is a little bit on the Tigers being like,
but I thought SMU kind of gave the game away right away. They just looked terrified when the game started.
Yeah.
I mean,
and look, it is going to be an environment in Happy Valley on Saturday.
That is true, and it's the coldest place I've ever been on this planet, Happy Valley. It's a heavy, humid cold that you just can't replicate anywhere else. Clemson at Texas.
So let's do a little math here.
Texas has not played all that well, but of course they've only lost twice, both to Georgia. I think better than Clemson. A lot.
Texas is 8th in the country in red zone opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They are 93rd in red zone conversions.
Ooh.
And here's what happens when you get an opportunity for 7, but you walk away with 3, or in some cases, 0.
Right.
You lose points. And that's how
Right.
Clemson stays inside this game. Because in the SEC championship game, Texas had 3 red zone opportunities, potential maximum gain of 21 points. They walked away from those 3 red zone opportunities with 2 field goals. 6 points when you could have had 21 in an overtime loss by 3 points is the definition of losing the game at the margins. Texas, I don't think they're getting enough out of Quinn Ewers. I don't think the offense is as good in performance as it is on paper. I like the Tigers to keep this one close.
So my only counter to that, because I would take points here too. I'm not sure Clemson is that much better in red zone.
Fair, 100% fair. That is.
You could have a whole bunch of -4s for this entire game. It could be
under. Let's go under.
And Tennessee, Ohio State. I kind of feel bad for the Vols because I think they bore the brunt of, and this is not anti-Ohio State. You and I have talked about this. I think the best conference in the country, to me, clearly was the SEC. They got 3 teams. Big Ten got 4 teams. And to me, this is where, man, I kind of wish Tennessee was the home team here. Because I think even though they didn't play as well down the stretch, I think their resume looks better than Ohio State's, even though OSU has wins over Penn State and Indiana. You know my feeling about the Big Ten as a whole. But Tennessee's got to go to the horseshoe. So what do you think?
Everyone thinks that Tennessee playing up north and Josh Heupel and Nico Iamaleava, they're talking about the wrong things. Because this Tennessee team is built on run game and defensive line.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's offensive line was ineffective against Michigan, has been banged up all season. And when Will Howard is under pressure, Will Howard makes mistakes. So even before we get to the Ryan Day, how you're going to coach this one with your job on the line scenario and vibes, I think Tennessee's got a great shot here. My expert bracket has Tennessee winning the game. So 7.5, I will gladly take.
I'm intrigued. All right, we'll have to talk later, and you can explain what a round robin is to me as best as you can. That's Chip Patterson, CBS Sports.com, Cover 3 podcast moderator. My friend, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you. I'm sure I'll talk to you before then, but for the sake of the radio show, merry and happy.
Sounds good. Y'all be well. Right back at you.
You got it. All right, when we come back, we have to stretch, and we have to place bets. And yesterday, I took actual U.S. currency and put it on all 3 wagers, and you saw what that got me. That's why they call it gambling, people. All right. Yeah, exactly. We'll do all of that next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
If you're in need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, has you covered. It's the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. That's funny just to say. Now, every Wednesday, you can get parlay profit boosts on everything from spreads to totals, even player props. Don't let the weekends have all the fun. Take advantage of the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack right now. Who knows? It might just become your thing. Look for the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. Go to FanDuel.com/AGS today. FanDuel.com/AGS right now. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
I'm Faith. I work as an American Sign Language interpreter, and I just graduated from my bachelor's program. I texted 988 because at the moment where I needed help, I realized that I didn't have access to English at the moment. Sometimes speaking gets hard for me, and they just helped me calm down, and then I was able to find a friend. It's free, and you can get in touch with people who are trained to help through all sorts of crises.
Call, text, or chat 988-24/7.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You wouldn't ask your mechanic to help stage your property for an open house. As NC Realtors, we're experts who make buying or selling property easier for you. Using the latest technology and armed with local insights, our realtors help you find properties you would want to call home. We also know which details make your property more attractive to other buyers. From start to finish, our realtors know. Find out more at ncrealtorsknow.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Georgia needs Alabama to beat LSU right now. And Georgia fans are beside themselves thinking that they have to root for Alabama for anything. So, I mean, it's messy everywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Dennis Cox on the ones and twos today. By the way, did the new episode of Panthers Playbook drop?
That will be dropping tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Oh, so you guys have done it?
Yes, I need to edit and mix it and all that kind of stuff.
Man, that's a lot of things that have to happen.
Yeah.
Do I, like, as somebody because you post that.
I do.
Right. Do I simply not care enough? Because I did the Canes Corner podcast last night. I think I set it to go live at, I think it was 11:40. No. It was 11 o'clock. I think I set it to go live.
Okay.
And I had sent it to who mixes it.
Mm-hmm.
I had sent it to him at like 11:40, and it posted by the time I got to my car.
All right.
So do I just not care enough?
I don't know. You might.
Because when I do it, because there are times where I have to do it myself.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes and it's up. That's my level of care, I guess.
Okay.
Man, you must put a lot of work into that.
I try.
All right. Well, what did we talk about on the Panthers?
Panthers Playbook, a little preview for tomorrow. Myself and Chris Lee from WREL Sports. The big thing going regarding the Panthers is who's that dude on their team? Like, for example, they just played the Cowboys. Micah Parsons, you got to watch out for that dude.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, watch out for that dude. When teams play the Panthers, who's that dude?
Well, he's hurt.
Derek Brown.
Derek Brown is that dude.
Yeah, but then that's it.
True.
That's it. They don't have any real difference maker on their team.
None.
And they haven't had one since they traded them all away.
And this is no disrespect to Derek Brown, who I think is a great player. I'm not so sure I put him in that category anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a fringe that dude.
Yeah. All right, I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
We'll download it. It's available. What time tomorrow?
7 a.m.
Gosh, I'm not getting
7 a.m. every Thursday.
I'm definitely up at 7 a.m.
You're in a barn.
I'm out of the barn by then.
Oh, you're out of the barn.
Oh yeah. We have other things to do. All right, let's stretch.
I got to find that button.
Oh.
All this stuff got moved around.
Yeah, before you push the button.
There it is.
Too late. You already pushed the button. All right, we'll talk about this later.
Okay. Since we're the end of 2024, the word of the year, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, polarization is the 2024 word of the year. Polarization.
Really?
Yes.
That's the word of the year?
And bet even that's polarizing. Exactly why it's the word of the year.
We've been using that word forever.
Yeah, but it's the word of the year because it means division. It's very specific kind of division. Obviously, being an election year, we hear the word polarization a lot, Adam. So that is where we are. That's where we are when it comes to these things.
I can't even, and I'm not going to.
You don't have to.
Thank
That's
you.
the best part.
Good.
You know what?
That
Actually,
is the best part.
Something that someone. Big shout out to a man in Detroit, Chuck Hildebrandt. He's actually in Chicago. He's actually from Chicago, is where he lives.
Not Detroit.
Not Detroit, but he visited a public library in the Detroit area and checked out a book in 1974 when he was 13 years old called Baseball's Zaniest Stars.
Gotcha.
Hadn't returned the book. Decided to bring it back to that library 50 years later. And they said, you know what? You can go ahead and keep it, no fine. Though a fine would have run him up over $4,500 in late fees.
Sure.
$4,500.
He should have at least reimbursed them for the book. Which, if he had it for 45 years?
50.
50 years?
Yes.
So what do you think that book was worth back then, even in real-time dollars?
10 cents?
If he paid it like $12. They should have just handed him $12 to replace the book. What was the book? Do we know what the book was?
Baseball's Zaniest Stars.
Oh, you already said that. I should have paid attention to that. Baseball Zaniest Stars?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to do a Google search for that.
So the book, he did actually return the book. The book is back on their shelves. Now, something that Hildebrandt is actually doing is trying to raise money to try and reach the $4,564 late fee So he's going to try and raise money for the Reading is Fundamental, a nonprofit literacy group. So he ended up chipping in $457 of his own money to kind of kickstart that. So basically 10% of that is what he did to help kickstart that. I was like, okay, that's fair. Like, you know what? Take that money and do something good with it.
Excellent.
So I'm for that. All right, last but not least here. I'm sure you've heard of a bar crawl before, right?
Yes.
Yes, a bar crawl. Imagine this time of year, a bunch of Santa Clauses doing a bar crawl around a town.
In the North Pole.
Yeah, well, this is actually in New York. Thousands of Kris Kringles and a bunch of old St. Nicks are jamming the streets and sidewalks, actually from Adelaide to Vancouver. It's something that actually happened this past Saturday for annual SantaCon charity pub crawls.
SantaCon.
Yes. So in New York City, again, temperatures were actually pretty cold this weekend. You had a bunch of Santa Clauses. They did a bunch of bar crawls to raise money. The New York City SantaCon is a charitable, non-commercial, non-political, nonsensical Santa Claus convention that happens once a year.
You got that right.
And they donate $15 to enter participating venues, and the organizers say the money all goes to charity. Now, it's funny because you do get a few people that dress up as Grinches, which I think is just hilarious.
That is awesome.
But you know what? An excuse to go drink is all anyone needs, right?
Yes. Are we ready?
I am ready.
Let's do it.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me.
I owe you nothing.
All right, so I went 0 for 3 yesterday, just so people know, and I'm honest, and I put American currency on it.
I went 2 for 3 yesterday.
Did you?
I did.
Very nice. I thought the Tar Heels would win. That was a mistake. I had Jackson Blake to score against his dad's old team. He did not. And because I was generous enough to buy the Hurricanes a win, I took the Islanders on the money line at plus 205.
Oh, wow.
So, we donated money. And we got a win. I'm more than happy to do it every time Hurricanes play. All right, you go first.
All right, go ACC. Cal taking on UNLV in a bowl game that I don't know the name of at plus 130. Give me Cal to win on the money line.
All right, why you would ever take an ACC team in a bowl game against anybody is a mystery to me. It is the Art of Sport LA Bowl.
That's what it is. Of course. Never pick ACC teams in the Art of Sport
LA Bowl. I'm actually going to parlay the 2 bowl games today. I'm going to take UNLV minus the 3.5, Western Kentucky plus the 7.5 against JMU in the Boca Raton Bowl at plus 255.
Just getting weird with it.
Yep.
Just getting straight weird with it. Actually, fun game in the NHL if you're a hockey fan tonight. Leafs at the Dallas Stars.
Sure.
Give me the Leafs plus 114 on the money line in this one.
Very nice. I'm going to take the Minnesota Wild at home over the Florida Panthers.
That should be a good game,
Florida
too.
just played in Edmonton. That was a 6-5 gong show. I think it'll be a lot lower scoring here. Wild to win in overtime, plus 712.
Okay. Give me the Canucks at plus 100. Also parlaying that with the Winnipeg Jets over the Anaheim Ducks at minus 170. Parlay that. That's plus 217.
All right, we have Ligue 1 action. The French League. Monaco, home to PSG. I smell a Monaco upset here. Plus 290. Give me Monaco to win that. EFL Cup also. I think the favorites are going to go through here, at least today. And then you've got Man U and Tottenham tomorrow. That should be fun. Wall of Sound, next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I'm helping you celebrate the 5 days of Canesmas all week long on 99.9 The Fan. It's presented by Hardee's. Let's celebrate our hometown hockey team. Call 919-860-5326. Be the captain. Caller 11. You'll score a $50 gift card from Hardee's. 919-860-5326. Listen to The Drive this afternoon for more chances to celebrate Canesmas with us. Thanks to Hardee's. Unwrap the holiday goodness of our handcrafted favorites. Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends down at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. I tell you all the time, that there is no better place to buy what she wants than at Diamonds Direct Crabtree. Why? No middleman markup. You're going to pay less for the diamond that she wants or fine gemstone jewelry. Let me just tell you, my wife loves diamonds and sapphires together. So where did I get one of her anniversary bands? It looks exactly like her wedding band, but it's got sapphires and diamonds in it, and I paid about $2,500 less there than I would have paid anywhere else. Why? Because these are the people that make the fantastic jewelry. They will save you money. No markup. Best selection, best customer service, best experience ever. Diamonds Direct Crabtree. You can shop online, diamondsdirect.com. Get down there right now for the holiday. You should check it out. Shop online, diamondsdirect.com. But we'll see you at the showroom on Glenwood Avenue in front of Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh. Happy holiday.
Introducing a product that redefines living well.
Luxury.
Designed to satisfy your wildest desires.
Extravagance.
Overflowing with suspense. Dripping with wealth.
Fortune.
The $8 million moneymaker from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With prices that start at $100 and go up to $8 million. Every win's a big win.
Whisper.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.14. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love. And love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Pinch me, because Lobster's back at Carolina Ale House. This fan favorite's only available through the end of the year, so head for your closest Carolina Ale House and load up on lobster. Enjoy your favorites or try something new like lobster seafood scampi, surf and turf, grouper fingers, and more. And as long as you're treating yourself, go all out with dessert too. Top off your lobster meal with a nice warm brookie with ice cream on top. Visit any Carolina Ale House in the Triangle and treat yourself. #AleYeah.
During the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of built-to-serve Ram trucks. And right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry to the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event today. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2/25.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
He's a coach's coach and a straight shooter. I really, not just like him, I respect the heck out of him. I know he's going to be the Carolina coach. I'm still going to like him and respect initially in this next month, transfer portal and everything. What's going to happen? Is there going to be some kind of bombshells that occur? What's the impact? Like you said, it's incredibly interesting, right?
It is.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. That is Dennis Cox on the ones and twos. 6 more shopping days until Christmas. 6 more. Incidentally, because everything's closed on Christmas, also 6 more shopping days until Hanukkah.
Okay.
Hanukkah starts sundown Christmas Day.
You have to factor in shipping days. You're really down to like 4. If you're buying online.
True. You can expedite.
I know.
If you are willing to pay that price. Do you do everything online?
No, not everything. No.
Are you a mall goer?
Sometimes I'm just very much an in-store shopper.
Yeah, okay.
I like to be able to see it. I like to be able to actually physically go to a store,
Touch it,
Yeah.
imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to tell from a picture. We have bought things online that you think are bigger than they are. Like, man, yeah, I know. Okay, there were dimensions listed. I should have really paid attention to that. Anyway, yes, 6 more shopping days, less if you are a deliver it to my home person. All right, we got a lot to do. Jon Feinstein is going to join us. Real quick story, and I'll mention this in the setup when we bring John on. He was on like 10 days ago. He had a book out about the Ivy League football, and all right, John's great. He's a great storyteller. Let's talk about the book and then some other things. And we talked about that. And what I didn't realize is that there's a book out now about Duke basketball and the dynasties, the 5 titles. It's called 5 Banners. So we're going to talk about that with Jon Feinstein and probably some other things as well. But we'll do that in just a few minutes. Right now, it's time for the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so Rhett Lashley is the head coach at SMU. They are taking on Penn State in the first round of the college football playoff. And this game is in Happy Valley. The winner of that game will advance to play Boise State. But what we're seeing now is a lot of players enter the transfer portal, including SMU's now backup quarterback, the guy who started the season, entered the portal.
Preston Stone,
but he's still going to play. He's still going to be available for SMU's trip to Happy Valley and beyond, which is kind of weird. Anyway, here's Rhett Lashley on the timing.
We talk about making a system that is all great for them, but we haven't. I mean, that's part of your job as adults, is to do what's best for young people, not what they want necessarily. And they don't want this. Yes, they want the ability to transfer and go where they want to go if they don't like their situation. Yes, they want the ability to make money on their name, image, and likeness. Neither one of those are bad things. There's no other sport at all that has free agency in the season. It's sad. It's terrible. You hear the story about their backup quarterback saying, "I don't have a choice." That's wrong. That's unacceptable. That's not okay. He shouldn't have to make that decision. Preston here is doing the same thing. Now, he has chosen to stay with us, and we're working with him, but it's still a juggling act for him. Oh, and let's not forget they're in finals right now. So, yeah, the real easy thing is you don't have a transfer portal in December. That's the real easy answer.
All right, well, we talked about this with Chip Patterson, and we'll explain why you couldn't eliminate a transfer portal in December. Dave Doran was on this very radio program yesterday and offered this solution.
Last year when we played Kansas State, between the two teams, there was 45 guys that didn't play, and so there's a huge impact. And how do you fix it? I think you start the season earlier. You finish the season earlier before the second semester begins, including bowl games. Have the national championship game be on January 1st, so that it is a one-semester sport. And you put the portal window after the bowl games. That's my opinion. I don't know another way, because right now it's designed for people not to finish.
I mean, Dave makes a very good point about shifting the schedule up. It does not have issues, however. Let me address why not having a portal in December is bad is not the right word. Why you have to have it. Chip Patterson brought this up, but we had brought it up earlier. The academic calendar, until which time comes where these games, these teams, are only attached to schools via a marketing and branding agreement, and these are not actual students who need to be enrolled in college and in classes. Until that time, not every school, but schools are on different calendars. Some schools are on trimesters. Some schools are on quads. I mean, it's all crazy.
I think Ohio State's one of the ones that's on the trimester.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, like they're in the middle of this. You can't do it. So, because we have differing academic calendars, there's just, in order to transfer to a school, you might have to be able to enroll like at the end of December. If you wait until after January, you might have missed the window to be eligible to do anything academically in the spring. So what Rhett Lashley is saying is if we eliminate the December portal, then you're probably going to have to stay with your school through the spring, even if you intend to transfer anyway, which doesn't make great sense. You're wasting, we have spring ball, right? You're wasting that part. The truth of the matter is that there's no great solution, especially in light of the fact that the sport has become first and foremost a money grab. Because I have a better solution than shifting the calendar up a month. You ready for it? Get rid of the freaking playoff. We've added a month to the season. If we didn't have a playoff, we could have the national championship game on New Year's Day. Problem solved. Nobody wants to do that. But there's no good solution because, honestly, bringing everybody back, and I realize that everybody is in school during the summer, right? Most of the athletes are on campus during the summer. It would eliminate some internships, the academic part of this. But if you started the season 4 weeks earlier, and your week 0 was the last week in July, well, when does everybody have to be here to actually have training camp? Probably late June. When is the off? Are these professional athletes? Well, kind of they are. So we're bringing everybody back to do this in June. We start playing at the end of July, right? And your season is over well before Thanksgiving. The conference championship games would be like the second week in November. And then we go through if we really cared, we would recognize that we're playing too many games. They don't care. Because it's about money. It's the only thing it's about. Yeah, there are inconveniences with this. There are. My suggestion is deal with it. That's not a good suggestion, by the way. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. I just don't know a better way around it because everything has its challenges. Everything. They talk about basketball being a 2-semester sport too, and I just don't know how you get around it.
They just have one transfer portal window. That's the thing.
What?
Basketball.
Right, but I'm not even talking about the portal. I'm talking about, they've talked about making basketball 1-semester sport. Not starting it until the first semester ends, which would be roughly 1 month later, even though, again, all the academic calendars are a little different. But if you started the basketball season in the middle of December as opposed to the first week in November, then you're sort of a 1-semester game. But then you're pushing March Madness to April and May Madness. A little bit different, right? Nobody wants to do that. Anyway. All right, you heard Bill Belichick or Coach K talking about Bill Belichick in the open for the hour, but here it is again if you missed it. Coach K on his radio show, Basketball and Beyond on Sirius XM, which is winning awards. He's actually pretty good at it. Anyway, thoughts on North Carolina's new football coach?
He's a coach's coach and a straight shooter, and I really not just like him, I respect the heck out of him. And I know he's going to be the Carolina coach. I'm still going to like him and respect. But it's going to, initially, in this next month, transfer portal and everything, what's going to happen? Is there going to be some kind of bombshells that occur? What's the impact? like you said, it's incredibly interesting, right?
It is.
Nick Stevens from High School OT was in studio with us on Monday. He's not sure that Belichick's name will resonate as maybe Belichick is hoping, as maybe the university is hoping. It certainly helped keep Bryce Baker, the quarterback, in this first recruiting class. But to me, where Belichick will have the greatest impact, more than likely, is with the transfer portal. How many of these guys, because theoretically, guys in the portal are closer to going pro. And that's not theoretically, that is true, because high school recruits are further away than anybody who has played at least a year. But these guys are, I have designs on being a pro. I have designs on maximizing my A value, B exposure, and probably in that order. But Belichick, in terms of getting people ready for the National Football League, I'm going to theorize is a better option. So that, to me, is where Belichick would have the greatest impact in the transfer portal. Finally, Mike Krzyzewski's successor at Duke is Jon Scheyer. They beat George Mason in somewhat of a rock fight last night. Who could miss more shots? Mason missed more shots, therefore they lose. But a very good test for Jon Scheyer's club.
These guys, if you see them on paper, they're an ACC team. You know, in terms of their ranking on, if you look on KenPom, if you look at anything they've done, and then you see the eye test, right, and physically, they look like an ACC team, you know. And so we had a ton of respect for them coming into this, and you know, the score may look like there's a big margin. It didn't feel easy to me. Right. You know, it felt every possession in this game was a fight, and it was hard to gain separation, which we finally did in the second half there. But I think it's a credit to our defense. It's a credit to the competitive spirit of our guys.
Look, George Mason is a good team. That was always going to be a difficult game. They play in the Atlantic 10. They're 7-4 going in. They got beat handily by Marquette, but I think this team can certainly defend. I think when Jon Scheyer says, look, they're an ACC team, meaning they're as good as teams in the ACC, in some ways that might be a self-own for the league. So theoretically, the league should have better teams than George Mason, but
it's like, really, I'm talking down to all y'all.
Maybe the reality is that we don't. So maybe that was brutally honest on the part of Jon Scheyer. All right, when we come back, Duke won 5 titles. Jon Feinstein wrote a book about that run, that dynasty, 91, 92, 2001, 2010, 2015. It's called 5 Banners. Jon Feinstein joins us next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
During Bill Belichick's intro press conference for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, the Tar Heels football program was the center of the sports universe, not just the college universe, the sports universe in general. So now here's what they have to do. Convert all that buzz into success, all those eyeballs into dollars, and win.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hi, everyone. It's Adam Gold, and may I be of some assistance to you right now. If you are a contact lens or glasses wearer, I'm going to make your life better. Dr. Lori Travers actually is going to make your life better. I am just making sure that you are aware that you can get rid of contact lenses and glasses forever, make your life better, ultimately save you money, because I have not spent a dime in the last 13 years on contact lenses, prescription glasses, prescription sunglasses, solutions, all of that stuff I don't pay for anymore because I don't need them. Dr. Lori Travers worked on me. She worked her magic. 5 minutes per eye. I went from 20/250 to 20/20 vision. It has been glorious. I just wake up every day and go. You can do the same thing. 919-510-6830. 919-510-6830. TraversLasik.com. The consultation is free. Travers LASIK, see what you've been missing.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with, cold hard cash.
Anyone else?
Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch.
New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Get your dream Honda during Happy Honda Days with a CR-V hybrid, Accord hybrid, Civic hybrid, or the all-electric Prologue. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 2.9% APR on a 2025 Honda Accord hybrid, a 4.9% APR on a 2025 Civic hybrid, a 3.9% APR on a 2025 CR-V hybrid, and a 0.9% APR on a 2024 Prologue.
Brought to you by your local Carolina Honda dealers. Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Here's Megan with Parkway Sleep Health Centers.
Are sleepless nights affecting your life? This holiday season, give yourself the gift of sleep. At Parkway Sleep Health Centers, we've treated sleep disorders for over 20 years. We offer sleep studies, office visits, CPAP machines, supplies, and more. From all of us at Parkway Sleep, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. Not available in Washington State.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
This is Adam Gold.
I'm definitely, if I had my choice, I'd say I'd go with the real tree. Just the whole thing, it just brings up what Christmas is all about. I kind of enjoy that, but we're no longer doing that.
I am a real tree, and then last year my wife threw a curveball at me and we had an artificial tree, and I didn't like it.
The Adam Gold Show.
So we talked to Jon Feinstein, I don't know, a week and a half ago. And we talked about the book, The Ancient Eight, all about Ivy League football. And I, for some reason, did not know that just released like a month and a half ago was a book called Five Banners Inside the Duke Basketball Dynasty, written, of course, by Jon Feinstein, because who else would write it? I had no idea. So I always bring up Jon Feinstein's other books throughout our conversation. That would have been an easy one. I didn't even know he published it. So Jon Feinstein is back because this is the book you should get for Christmas right now. Go order it on Amazon. Sir, I apologize. It, as I said to you in a text, it just shows that we haven't spoken enough lately. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Adam, and my apologies because I just assumed you knew about the book.
See, that's the one we talk about all of them, but that's the one we definitely would have talked about since it is so pertinent. So did you wonder, hey, why is Gold ghosting me? Is that were you thinking about that at all?
I didn't think you were ghosting me. I just thought that you had gotten the Ivy League book, which I'm glad you did, and the reviews have been great. And you were going one book at a time, and you were, as it turned out.
I absolutely was. All right. We are going to talk about Duke basketball, and I have some other thoughts about some other things for you. But in light of news of the day, where the Ivy League has just voted to allow their champion to go play in the FCS playoffs, and we talked about this, 10 days ago. What are your thoughts on the Ivy League now on board with letting its champ play for it all.
Yeah, better late than never. I mean, one of the things I wrote about in the book was how the players and coaches were unanimous in wanting to play in postseason. And every other Ivy League sport has played in postseason forever. I mean, you can go back to Bill Bradley's Final Four team in 1965, and Princeton was in the Sweet 16 just a couple of years ago. So I didn't understand why the presidents insisted on not allowing their quote-unquote student-athletes to play in postseason, and maybe they all read the book and decided I was right.
Well, you often are right. So look, I'm glad it's going to happen. I wonder what kind of a disadvantage they'll be because they end their season earlier. I don't know if it even matters. Maybe the rest is good. I don't know, but it's certainly good that these football players, these athletes, get a chance to put what they have done up against everybody else. Now let me get to. Well, you have thoughts?
Just remember one thing, Adam. They play 10 weeks in a row. So
that's right.
Getting a week off before they go into postseason would probably be a good thing.
Oh, I would imagine, yeah. No question about it. Not to mention, they actually have final exams that matter. That might have been an unnecessary shot at the college football industry. Now, to the book Five Banners Inside the Duke Basketball Dynasty. Look, I can distinctly remember all 5 titles. I know you can. They're all incredibly different. There is almost no similarity. Obviously, the closest would be the first 2 because they were consecutive. But I think the dynamics of the second team, because of egos and success, were so incredibly different. So how do you go through each of the 5?
Well, basically, I went back and obviously talked to Mike Krzyzewski and talked to players on each of those teams. And you're right about the dynamics of the 92 season being different than 91, because in 91, everybody expected Nevada, Las Vegas to win the championship.
Right.
And they had beaten Duke by 30 in the championship game in 1990, and the teams rematched in the semifinals, and Duke won, I think, one of the most historic games ever because it ruined UNLV's chance for an undefeated season.
Yep.
And still to this day, the last undefeated team we've had is Indiana in 1976 because Duke won that game in 1991. But 92, Duke had become the target. They were the team that, traveled with all sorts of roadies and hangers-on because they were the defending champions and they had most of their team back. The only 2 players who graduated from the 91 team were Greg Kubek and Clay Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different dynamic, and they had to hold off Kentucky in that equally historic Elite 8 game in Philadelphia when Christian Laettner hit the shot at the buzzer to win the game. So then, like you said, the college game changed, and Mike Krzyzewski had to change in his approach to recruiting and to coaching players. And the 2001 team was built around a bunch of juniors, Jason Williams, Carlos Boozer, and Mike Dunleavy. And they had to come from 22 points down in the semifinal to beat Maryland, a game that Maryland fans still insist was controlled by the referee. I find it hard to believe that you can have a 31-point turnaround and blame it on the referees. And then in 2010, Krzyzewski had just recruited his first one and done, Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving hadn't arrived yet. He arrived in 2011 for his 1 year, and so they won a national championship with a bunch of guys who never really had much effect on the NBA. The only first-round draft pick was Nolan Smith. He played a couple of years, but they were juniors and seniors, and they played just unbelievable defense. That's how they won the championship against another great defensive team, Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Butler hadn't given up 60 points in the entire tournament, and they gave up 61 to Duke, and that was just enough to win the game 61-59 with the last second shot hitting off the rim that everybody remembers. It's still shown in replay, even though the shot didn't go in.
Yeah.
And then 2010 was the year. 2010 was the year he had recruited Kyrie Irving. He had finally given an end to recruiting one and dones. He'd held out for a while. Carolina won 2 national championships, and Krzyzewski said, "Well, maybe I should recruit one and done because I'd rather have them play for me than against me."
Yeah.
And they won the 2010 championship with that team that I just described. And then 2015 was the year of the one and dones, because there were 3 one and dones on that championship team, but there were also 3 seniors.
Yep.
Quinn Cook, Marshall Plumlee, and Emile Jefferson, who played key roles in Duke winning the national championship. And there was an unheard of freshman named Grayson Allen, who came off the bench in the championship game and turned the game around when Duke was down 9 to Wisconsin.
Yeah,
so you're right. They're all completely different stories.
You know, it's funny. I remember the first one. I remember being down 5 when Duke was down 5 to Vegas with about 2 minutes to go. And Bobby Hurley comes up the court, and he just didn't hesitate. He clearly this was his plan, whether it was directed by the bench or not, I don't know. But he just let fly from about 3 feet behind the 3-point line and made what I think was the biggest shot maybe in the whole dynasty, because that shot,
that and the Leitner shot.
Well, yeah, the Leitner shot, but I think this is the one that started it, because they were losing that game to Vegas, 5-point game with about 2 minutes to go, and I think that shook Vegas. They realized then that they were in a game they had not been in all year. I think the closest game they were in all season was it might have been at Arkansas or against UTEP. It was probably against UTEP because they didn't really play anybody that year.
The closest game they'd had all year was 8 points, and most of their games were 20 and 30 points. You're absolutely right. And Hurley's shot was the biggest shot, and there was no direction from the bench because Krzyzewski was trying to call timeout.
He was no good at coaching.
And Hurley didn't see him calling timeout, or at least says he didn't see him calling timeout. And like you said, he stepped into a seam and fired the 3-pointer, and then Duke got the timeout. And then they went from being on their heels to feeling like they had Vegas on their heels.
Yeah.
And Vegas came down and had a 35-second shot clock violation, and Duke came down, and Brian Davis, of all people, made a 3-point play to put Duke ahead by 1.
Right.
Larry Johnson then made 1 of 3 free throws because he got a third because Thomas Hill stepped in the lane, tying the game. And then Leitner, who was unbelievable in that game, 28 points, 12 rebounds, holding Larry Johnson to 13 points, got the rebound, made the 2 free throws, and then Duke guarded and forced Vegas into a bad shot, and game over, upset happens, Duke wins, dynasty begins.
Yeah, and what I remember about Vegas in that situation is that as good a player as Larry Johnson was, he didn't want to take the shot. He passed up the shot, wide open, passed up the shot. He was a wonderful pro, but he didn't want that.
He'd been outplayed by Leitner the whole game, and he was tight. The fact that he missed 2 out of 3 free throws a minute before that was evidence of that, and he passed up an open shot. Leitner got to him at the last second. He passed the ball to Anderson Hunt, and Anderson Hunt had both Bobby Hurley and Grant Hill in his face. And he threw up a desperation 25-footer. It hit the rim. It bounced off. Hurley caught the rebound, and they started celebrating until Krzyzewski ran onto the court with his palms down, saying, cool it, we haven't done anything yet.
Right.
Because he remembered beating Kansas in '86 and then losing the championship game to Louisville. He was already getting ready for the championship game.
No question about it. All right, one thing about the 0-1 team that won a title, which was as good a team as I have ever laid eyes on. Loaded at so many positions with Battier, with Dunleavy, Boozer, Williams, Duhon, just absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
They feel like they could have won in 2000. They feel like they could have And I've talked to Jay Will about this a lot. He felt they would have won it again in 2002. I was at the game when they lost to Indiana in the Sweet 16, and I remember Mike Krzyzewski with Mickey coming down the tunnel as we were waiting to go into the Duke locker room, and Mike came over to me and he said, "Was Boozer fouled?"
Right.
And it was clear as day he was fouled, hacked, because I was right there. My seat was right under that basket. He was hacked right across the arms as he was going up, and they didn't call it. So, yeah, but that team, at the very least, would have met Maryland for the fourth time.
Right. Well, the other thing is, though, they never should have been in that situation.
Because Jay Will missed the free throw.
And Jay Williams missed the free throw, which he still remembers vividly. Yeah. But they were up 16 in that game, and they let that lead slip away and actually fell behind, and that's why Boozer getting fouled was significant. But that to me was a blown championship, because they certainly would have beaten Kent State in the regional final, and they would have beaten Oklahoma, and I think you're right, they would have played Maryland. And all the pressure would have been on Maryland, because Maryland had actually been the best team all year, in my opinion, and deserved to win the championship. But, they're playing Duke, and Duke was like kryptonite to them. And but that's ifs and buts. That's why, there are other years. J.J. Redick got hacked on the last play of the Connecticut game in the Final Four in 2004. And that would have put him on the line to win the game. He got clear. I was standing under that basket and saw him get hacked, and was actually in disbelief that there was no call. And Krzyzewski's first comment to me, he went into the press conference and was gracious and gave all the credit to Connecticut, like he does. And when I walked up to shake hands with him afterwards, outside the locker room, his first comment was, "We got screwed." And he didn't say that very much. He usually accepted victory or defeat, regardless of the referees. But they did get screwed on that call. So it could have been more than 5 banners, but damn, 5 banners is a lot.
Yes, 5 banners is a lot. All right, final thing for Jon Feinstein. The book is called 5 Banners Inside the Duke Basketball Dynasty. Because I know you watched the showdown at Shadow Creek last night with Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler against Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. What did you think?
Who won?
I read that Scottie and Rory won handily. I also did not watch it. I could not give less of a rat's about that match.
The only thing, I watched the very beginning, and I noticed that David Faraday was on the call. That because it was LIV versus PGA Tour, LIV was allowed to bring in 2 announcers, and David was one of them, and it was great to hear him, because I haven't heard him except on the LIV telecast, which is like watching exhibition baseball. But I'm going to call David today, because I need to catch up with him. We haven't talked much since Book Faraday came out a couple of years ago.
That was a great book, by the way. That was an emotional read.
That was a fun book. Yeah, it was a fun book to do, although you're right, it was tough talking to David about the death of his son, because he's obviously never been the same. How can you be the same after you lose a child?
No, that was an incredibly emotional read, and I've always been a big Faraday fan. But you have thoughts on the PGA of America unsolicited giving 12 multimillionaires and their captain probably a total of about $4 million?
Well, my thought is this is totally unnecessary. However, this has been going on, the debate over whether to pay the PGA Tour players. You don't have to pay the European Tour players. They pay to play. That's one of the reasons why they win more often than not. But the PGA Tour players have been, crying to get paid since when was the Ryder Cup at Brookline?
99, Marco Mira.
99, right. 1999. And Marco Mira led the charge saying we should get paid.
Yeah.
And they gave money to their charities. And now this is the evolution to paying them directly. I'm not surprised by it. I'm a little disappointed.
Oh yeah, I am as well. As a matter of fact, I spoke to a former player who told me the last person in the world who should have complained about not being paid to be in the Ryder Cup was Mark O'Meara. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, he won 2 major championships the year before. How much do you think that increased his bankroll?
Quite a bit.
Yeah,
quite a bit. He had a taste of it. Jon Feinstein. The book is called 5 Banners Inside the Duke Basketball Dynasty. You can go get it on Amazon right now and have it wrapped or unwrapped if you are environmentally conscious for the holidays. Sir, merry and happy to you. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me on twice in 2 weeks.
I mean, I can't believe I blew it the first time. All right, when we come back, we'll rewind, and the best thing I saw yesterday. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we've got the NBA on our minds. And FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from who will win the game to how many points a player will score. We got parlays, we got totals, we have everything, player props as well. Plus, you can check out newer bets, number of dunks, assists, 3-pointers in the next 3 minutes. My gosh, we're getting specific, aren't we? It doesn't matter if you tap into FanDuel before the game starts or after it's already tipped off. You can pick up a dub whenever, and now's the perfect time to do it. New customers, bet $5, win that bet, get $150 in bonus bets. How about that? FanDuel.com/AGS for your chance to win. Have a ball. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling. And when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988-24/7.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
Georgia needs Alabama to beat LSU right now. And Georgia fans are beside themselves thinking that they have to root for Alabama for anything. So, I mean, it's messy everywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Dennis Cox on the ones and twos today. I just remembered that North Carolina is playing UConn in the Fenway Bowl.
Sounds like a road game.
Kind of, right? It's called the Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
That's right.
I'm not sure is Wasabi is a brand name here. Mm-hmm. It's not just it's sponsored by Wasabi, that paste that you get with sushi.
I think so.
And by the way, if you get that, I think in like the grocery store, because you can buy grocery store sushi. I don't even think that wasabi is real, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. It's spice. It's like heat. So yes, North Carolina versus UConn in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Hey, if we have anybody here who's interested in going to that game, I mean, if you've never been to Fenway Park, I realize you're not seeing a baseball game. Fenway Park is like going to a museum. And they offer tours of the inner workings of it. It's awesome.
I tried to go on a tour, almost 20 years ago, of Fenway when I was in Boston, and because the Red Sox weren't playing, but they're setting up for a Rolling Stones concert, so I couldn't go on a tour. I was like, I told the security guy, I'm like, can you just let me walk in just so I can look in, just see it, and you just walk me right back out? Like we're at like one of the gates, and he's like, sorry, I can't do that.
I've been to a few Red Sox games at Fenway. And I actually went to a Red Sox-Yankees game. It was it was the second to last Sunday of the season. And it was Roger Clemens versus Curt Schilling. I think it was either the year after or 2 years after the 2004 title. It might have been 1 year after the 2004 title. I'm not sure. Although Clemens might have already been in Houston, so it was as after that. It was Clemens came back to the Yankees. And I remember being in that Yawkey Way area, which is a kind of an enclosed retail area outside the stadium. Similar to what Tom Dundon wants to do with the arena area, is to create kind of a retail corridor with some bars and restaurants and team stores and other stuff. And it reminded me of being outside of a music venue at a concert. Like if you mentioned the Rolling Stones, if you're waiting with, 12,000 other people to get inside of an arena to see the Stones, or I likened it to, for people who have been to Dead shows before, it's called a Shakedown Street, which is the title of a Dead song, where everybody is kind of queuing up to file into the arena or the stadium. It's just got tons of energy. It was just awesome. That was the first time I had ever been to a Yankee Red Sox game. It was like nothing else I had ever seen. It really was. It was tremendous. Anyway, I encourage you to go to Fenway Park. Before we get to a rewind, Bio State plays East Carolina, North Carolina, UConn, Duke plays Ole Miss in the Cutcliffe Bowl. That's what to describe it. And I don't know who the quarterback. Do you know who the quarterback's going to be, Dennis?
I'm assuming it was Henry Beelan, because I know Beelan a couple times during the season came in as a running quarterback for Malik Murphy. So I'm assuming it's going to be him.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as he's on the roster, as long as he hasn't entered the portal, they need somebody. They did not call me. So
I think you might be out of eligibility.
I am, in fact, out of eligibility. All right. before we get into a rewind, I wanted to talk about the best thing I saw yesterday. And Dennis, you were there for the best thing that I saw yesterday.
Okay.
Because we have been talking about goaltending ever since Frederik Andersen got hurt. And when it was just a week-to-week thing, remember when Andersen, it was like the last game of the road trip where it was announced that Andersen was hurt, and it would be like a week-to-week thing. And then about 2 weeks into the week-to-week thing, I asked Rod Brindamore outside the Hurricanes locker room when I do some interviews before the game, I said, is Freddie getting closer to a return? And Rod just went, nope. And not too long after that, it was announced that Andersen would have surgery to repair some knee damage and that he would be out for 8 to 12 weeks. So I think the smart money is Andersen comes back after the Four Nations tournament, which is middle to late February. But with that said, once Andersen was going to be out for an extended period of time, it left only Pyotr Kochetkov as an NHL goalie. This is no disrespect meant towards Spencer Martin, and now Dustin Tokarski is here, but same thing. Those are AHL goalies. Hurricanes only have one NHL goalie. And the more Pyotr Kochetkov played, the more inconsistent he appeared. And it's not a sustainable way to play and win on any large scale in the NHL if you have inconsistent goaltending. And it wasn't like he's at times spectacular and at times not good. He was kind of okay, good, bad. So it was like a notch down. The range was a notch down. And when the Hurricanes were scoring 4 goals a game, it was fine because they weren't giving up 3 bad goals a game. But once that number started to drop, when the Hurricanes all of a sudden for about a week, like 2.5, 3 weeks were scoring 3 goals a game, the 1 or 2 bad goals that Pyotr Kochetkov was giving up cost you games. I still think they need a goalie. But, Dennis, you were on press row.
I was.
Am I crazy? Kochetkov looked awesome last night.
He looked like a number 1 goalie, if that makes sense. He looked like a number 1 that, hey, you know what? Another team's going to get some grade A chances, and he's going to shut the door. He's going to stop more than what he's supposed to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's going to stop. He's going to stop the one he's supposed to, and then he's going to buy you another 1 or 2, which is all you really can ask for from a goalie.
And I know Rod talks about timely saves, but you know when the timeliest saves were last night? Early in the first period.
Oh my gosh, the very first 20 seconds he makes like 2 saves.
Yes. And then there was a 2-on-1. Again, it's still 0-0. It was a 2-on-1. He didn't make a save, but he made the Islander forward maybe extend a little bit further out, maybe try to be a little too fine. And the guy missed the net on a 2-on-1 where he cut across from right to left. Kochetkov was excellent last night without necessarily being flashy about it. Now, he did do crazy things. He did throw his stick at one point. Tripp called it, was that a javelin?
Yeah.
And then late in the third period, he skated out and denied a breakaway, but it was probably an unnecessary move, but he did deny the play. But it was typical Kochetkov skating out and diving at the puck. He's a nutcase. But when he's playing well and he's not allowing the bad goal, man, it just looks and feels so much different. I still think they need a goalie. It doesn't have to be anybody spectacular. It just has to be somebody who can play in the NHL on a regular basis. That's all, but it was good to see Kochetkov play so well last night. All right, time for a rewind. All right, let's do a little NFL stuff. We haven't talked a lot of NFL today. Ryan Wilson, CBSSports.com, with the First Pick podcast. So let's start with the upcoming draft and what the Panthers should be looking for. Maybe they can pick third. That would be a great spot. All right, Ryan, what should Carolina be doing?
Hey, they almost have to be, right? We've seen what the offenses have looked like in Las Vegas and New York without a confident quarterback, or a healthy one for that matter. And while this quarterback class isn't anything like last year's in terms of depth and even talent at the top, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are going to be going 1 and 2 in some order unless something crazy happens. And I think the odds are 45-ish% that both the Vegas Raiders and the Giants end up and 1 or 2 in some form, and then that leaves the race wide open at 3 and beyond for the other teams. And if I'm Carolina, you have needs at edge rusher. Maybe even you take an interior defensive lineman. Mason Graham's a special player out of Michigan. Right. But if I'm picking third, it's pretty easy. I'm taking Travis Hunter, and I'm going to feel great about it. The fans are going to feel great about it, and he helps you. He's a 2-for-1 situation because he helps you on both sides of the ball. The only question, Adam, is you can't overuse him because if you play him 120 snaps, you're going to get 3 games out of him. You got to be judicious with that. But that's one you don't overthink. You take him and you move on and you regroup for rounds 2 and beyond.
On the Panthers Playbook podcast, not the one that is dropping tomorrow, Dennis, you and Chris Lee do a great job with that.
Thank you.
How much have you talked about what they need in the upcoming draft? Have you even gotten to that part of the conversation yet?
We have. We actually had a conversation about it a little bit last week after the Jonathan Brooks injury, because I thought that actually kind of changes a little bit of their offseason plans a little bit, because you're anticipating having a game changer there in the backfield with Chuba Hubbard. Now you don't have that going into next year. So we have discussed it. I still think they need a receiver that can stretch the field. I think that's something that they obviously have lacked for a couple of years. Defense needs a pretty big overhaul.
Yeah.
And I think also scheme is included with that too. But I think the defense, for the most part, needs a pretty major overhaul. So I think, honestly, most of this draft should be focused on the defensive side of the ball. I think they need to upgrade at center. Cade Mays is a replacement level center right now, and I think it's showing over the last few weeks.
Yeah, look, there's a reason they have 3 wins.
So there's that.
They need a lot, right? There's the rebuild. I think it's cool that, and let's bring in Ryan's thoughts on Bryce Young here. I think it's cool that it looks like at least Bryce Young is a quarterback that has a chance to be what they hoped he would be.
I'm so happy for him because he's a great kid, number one. And number two, your point is a good one. He's playing pretty high ball except for last week, and they're also the benefit of losing football games, not because of Bryce. And I don't know what happened, because after week 2 when he was benched and after watching every single snap a year ago, which was it felt like punishment at times for me, he feels like a different dude, right? Yep. And sometimes I don't know if it's the players in today's age, to date myself, and I'm going to throw you in that bucket as well, but maybe they could use a little benching and it allows them to regroup. When Anthony Richardson got benched, I was talking to a scout that said, he'll be fine. This will get his head on straight and he'll come back and be better. And he has been better. Bryce has been better than that. And the thing that I've taken away most, Adam, and I think Dave Canales probably deserves a lot of credit here, Bryce's footwork feels like he's back at Alabama. It's not the frenetic footwork we saw the first 18 games of his career. He's standing in the pocket. He's not looking to bail early. He's not looking to bail to his right and then make some off-platform throw that inevitably is into a bad situation. He's staying in there. He's delivering the ball. He's throwing with anticipation like he did at Alabama, and it's been fun. And I think the underlying sort of takeaway for me is that when you play with confidence, you're a different player, no matter if you're Josh Allen or if you're Bryce Young. So credit to him, credit to Canales, and hopefully they can keep this thing going.
I mean, it's every sport, right? A confident player, you don't think. You're just relying on your ability and your instincts. Bryce Young has looked like a different quarterback. Even the bad game against Dallas. I mean, you could tell he looks like an NFL quarterback. That's what we were hoping for at the beginning of the year. And for 2 weeks, he didn't. He didn't. And I still think I would love to ask Dave Canales, if Andy Dalton isn't in a car accident, where are we? I think Andy Dalton's still playing. Dennis Cox, well done. You remembered everything. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered.